What did I just do? Okay. Wow. Oh, my goodness. How do I fix this? There we go. Woo. That was nothing. That was scary. I hit the F button to type on my other screen, and I was still on the StreamYard, and it went you and I full screen. The whole computer was just you and I. That was frightening. I don't know if other people do that, but that's scary. Is game 6's SIX''S, right? 2 game 6's. Like if you were speaking of the NBA.
SIX''.
Yeah. That just looks weird.
It does.
You know I'm very conscious about my spelling and grammar.
You could too, just the number 6''.
You know, you're not supposed to. When it's under 10, you're supposed to type the number out.
Huh.
Boy, LW, thanks so much. If I don't know how to gotten through the weekend without knowing that.
Yep, it's a race that doesn't count, and yet they lose a weekend over it.
My son's going to Martinsville. His buddy bought tickets and said, I bought tickets to Martinsville. You're going. Man, he was, I had a great time when we were, the Will's great. His buddy's getting married in September. He goes, we had a great time when we went there last time. Jake always does his voice. It's crap. I love Will. He's from Brevard, North Carolina, which is near Asheville.
Okay.
He is just, he's the one. He walked down, played football. He's a good kid, really good kid. Very happy for him getting married. He's a wonderful kid. Makes me laugh. Yes, I am. Pleasant Journeys. Got home last week, Wednesday. Go Raiders. I think they've got something for Carolina. I'll still pick Carolina, but it's going 6 at least. That's going to be a good series. They can score. And they've got depth right now. Depth scoring, I should say.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Marc Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Friday. Man, do we have a lot going on. Capping off a busy week, and it's a busy weekend also. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Good morning, Marc. How you feeling?
Feel great. It was just a minor thing, not anything to worry about. I'm feeling great, ready to go. 11:20 tea time. Pretty happy. Oh, yeah, we've got a show to do as well.
Right. Got to kill some time between now and then.
Right.
That is true. But I mentioned a lot going on. You know, I almost said something yesterday, and I still believe it to be true, but it was not the case yesterday. I thought Aronimink was going to get eaten up. I thought there was a chance for like a 62. I still think there's a chance for a really low round at the par 70. But, man, that course held up yesterday.
Well, if it blows like that, I mean, that's the key, David. Yesterday afternoon, the winds really picked up. And if it blows like that, we're in for, hey, give me that 3 of the 4 days. Give me one nice day and, maybe one calm day, if you will. If you let it blow like that 3 or 4 days, that does separate the men from the boys a little bit. But what's exciting to me, David, is all of the players within 2 shots of the lead. I mean, we've gone, the Masters, and it ended up coming back to the pack, but we had some pretty big leads at Augusta. We've had some big leads in majors recently, even in the golf tournaments this year. So it was nice to see how many players after day one are right there. And that leads me to believe we're going to have a really fun weekend at the PGA.
I mean, what do we have right now? 33 golfers within 2 shots?
Yeah.
But then again, 3 under's a low opening round lead. I mean, it's low in a U.S. Open. Usually somebody puts a 4 or a 5 on the board out of the chute. And, there's not much that Scotty Scheffler can seemingly do for the first time. I read this stat twice. It's difficult to believe. This is the first time he's been tied or in the lead after the first round of a major.
It's funny, David. I got to hand it to my statistician at home, my wife. We had that on. I didn't turn the hockey game on until like 7:20. I didn't, just for whatever reason, I wasn't paying attention at the time. I had the golf on. I was enjoying the golf. I was enjoying watching Scheffler.
How many goals did you miss?
2.
Right.
1-1 when I turned it on. And I turned it on, and there was 2 more in 11 seconds. So I flipped it over to the second TV, and while we were having dinner and sitting there, my mother came over, and my wife's kind of half paying attention to TV, and she goes, "Is that really the first time Scheffler's led after?" And so I saw the graphic, and they were interviewed. I wasn't listening to the interview, but we had that TV on, and I went, I guess they wouldn't put that graphic up if it were wrong. And then I started thinking he's been a slow starter at a lot of these. And, that Tiger Masters-esque when Tiger went 40-30, there's been a few of those type of rounds for Scheffler in opening rounds of majors. So it was, to me, it was great to see him have a good first round. It was great to see how many players and what that young kid shot a great round, youngest person to lead, to have a tie for a lead in the major in forever or whatever, maybe ever. That was cool. So, great first day for everybody not named Rory or Bryson.
Yeah, really. We'll get to that a little bit later on. So here's the part, though, that if I'm the rest of the field, scares the, fill in the blank out of me. So Scheffler this year has been not good in the first round.
No.
There's no other way to say it. But this stat was mind-boggling to me. In his last 8 tournaments, he has picked up where he was after 36 holes, how many shots he was behind the leaders. He has picked up on average of 5 shots over the weekend on the leader. So I'm sitting here thinking before the tournament starts, well, heck, if I'm Scheffler, if I'm 3 off the lead going into Saturday, with the way this year's gone, I got this sucker. I'll be fine. I mean, what, he spot Rory, 12 at the Masters, finish 1 back? Right, 12 behind Rory at the turn, so to speak, and he finished 1 back.
To put it in perspective, he was the favorite going into the tournament, but you were getting odds betting on Scotty Scheffler. After day 1 of the PGA, with how many players under par? 33?
I believe it's 33.
33 players under par. He's plus 175.
Right. Yeah. Basically, Vegas is like, based on what we've seen for the last 3-4 months, this sucker's over.
Xander Schauffele's next at plus 900. Everybody else is 14 to 1. I mean, there are two at 14 to 1, and then it goes to 30 to 1. I mean, Vegas is telling you he's winning.
Right. It's over. Vegas
Right.
is saying this sucker's over. Right. So obviously hope that's not the case. Hope that there's very little to no moisture the rest of the week. Those greens can get even harder, crustier. Boy, they were not easy to manage yesterday, and never mind. And I thought the pins were mostly reasonable. A couple of them were a little scary, but mostly reasonable. So anyway, I thought the PGA got off to a good start. I mean, 33 guys within 2 shots of the lead, a lot of big names that you can hang your hat on. Do have to get into, I mean, I don't know if you thought of me, but I thought of you. So Miller and Moulton have gone round and round in 20 years about many things, but probably one of the top 3 things we've got round and round about are golf rules. And Marc is, when it comes to golf, Mr. Stickler. Okay? No bending of any kind. These rules are in cement. When Michelle Wie got disqualified in her heyday because she signed her scorecard, not, it wasn't as if she waited too long. She signed it, quote, outside the designated signing area. She had left the tent, stopped, turned around, signed it outside. They DQ'd her. They didn't give her a 1 or 2 shot penalty. They DQ'd her. Marc defended it to the nth. So how'd you feel when the guy was 1 minute late for his tee time and got a 2-shot penalty?
When was his tee time?
7:18.
When did he show up?
He walked on the tee at 7:19. He was the last of the 3 guys that was scheduled to tee off. The guy in front of him had not teed off yet.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. The rules state you need to be on the tee at your tee time. It's really simple. They all know it. When you say I didn't have my phone with me or a watch on, then you're an idiot. You when your tee time is. You don't show up late for your tee time. Sorry, it sucks. Sucks.
Do you think 2 shots is one too many?
No. Lucky they didn't disqualify him. Send him back. No, that's the penalty.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying
most penalties that are not involved with things on the course are 2-shot penalties. Putting an incorrect score down, 2 shots. Signing an incorrect scorecard. All these are 2-shot penalties. So that's just, I guess I'm comfortable with what is and what's always been. David, if they want to change them, I'm fine with that too. But it's not like they don't know what the rules are going in. Most golfers are pretty aware of the rules. And if they're not, that's also on them.
For whatever reason, and I also blame his caddy. Apparently, they were like right next to the first tee, putting on the putting green. I mean, it's not like he was in the bathroom. It's not like he was getting a breakfast sandwich. I mean, he was like,
not like he was in the can.
Right. He was right there.
Whoops, I had that breakfast burrito and it caught up with me. No, it was on the putting green.
I got to admit, my gut feeling was if they haven't called your name yet, you're not late. But, and that's kind of what he said afterwards. Because he didn't, they told him he had a 2-shot penalty. For whatever reason, he put it aside. He'd be tied for the lead if not for the 2-shot penalty.
It is funny you say that about the rules, David. I played on Wednesday, and the guy I'm playing with went to kind of mat down the grass in front of his putt on the fringe, and the ball moved. And I went, if I ever play him in a tournament, I'm going to pay a lot more attention to him.
Right.
I didn't care in a regular Wednesday game.
Right. But I just thought that was interesting, worthy of discussion. Are you late if they haven't called your name yet? He was standing on the tee. They hadn't gotten to him yet he was late. And then the penalty was 2 shots, which I thought was interesting as opposed to a shot. But so that's all. But I had 4 birdies and a bogey, but had to take a double on the first hole because he was 1 minute late. That doesn't happen very often in these things.
No, it does not. No, it does not. Miller and Moulton, I'm amazed after all of the schedule leaks that have been texted to me over the past few days that we didn't even mention the National Football League yet. But the schedule is out, and I have to give it to Guillermo, who sent a post to the show last night saying, I did the Dolphins schedule game. It took 10 seconds. They're on the clock. The question is, will we find out week 1 if that's what they're battling for? Miller and Moulton, the schedule game awaits, plus some game 6s to talk about, and the starting 5.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCD 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
All right, go Raiders. Do you think you deserve any? I'm being serious. I was actually looking, Kevin, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do big public events yet, but the Lions play in Miami in, I think it's November. That I was like, that interested me a little bit. The only schedule game, I didn't even play the schedule game. I played how easy or difficult is it going to be for us to sell our Steeler tickets? And I was very happy when I saw a graphic that said Pittsburgh played Baltimore week 15 and week 18. And the week 15 game is the home game because week 18 games have always been tough to sell in the past.
Yeah, you've got a couple pretty good ones late. You've got the Black Friday Denver game, right?
Yeah, I think that'll sell. The Carolina game after Christmas was interesting. It's like 2 days after Christmas. I think that could be a Christmas gift for someone because it's literally 2 days. Family's home. But I love the Friday Thanksgiving game. I think that'll be a good sell. Paula, where are you? Paula, you're in here, right? How many wins for the Lions? That's what I want to know out of you. Because after they lose to Buffalo week 2, you could see them stringing together a lot of wins. In fact, they could have the division wrapped up before their final 2 games.
Well, Denver's opening stretch is very hard. And I'll be curious what he sees their record as after 6 games.
6-0. By the way, not that you care, go Raiders, but the Raiders in Tennessee. So your last 2 Heisman winners have 0 primetime games in their career because Tennessee had none last year either. Saw something on that about Ward and Mendoza. Wow, that is challenging.
Yeah, that Denver start, isn't it?
3 roadies, home games against the Rams, Jacksonville, and Seattle. I mean,
yeah. Right.
You're 3-3 there. You've accomplished something.
I'm telling you.
So we got them 0-6.
Golly, I correct.
I think the Giants' road schedule is very difficult.
They say it might be the toughest of any team. That was Warren Sharp thought that. I was on X last night as the third period was getting out of hand.
I mean, their easiest road game looks at Washington.
Yes. Yes. Everything that fan said is right. David's been saying it for years.
Owe me nothing. Would I like them to be decent again? Yes. But they owe me nothing.
I say the same of the Red Wings, but I've had enough of this missing the playoff stuff. It's enough.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Marc Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour, the starting 5 in a little more than 15 minutes time. And let it be said that the person that brought up the NFL and the NFL schedules was Marc Miller. All right. I had no problem talking golf in the first segment. Okay. Big news out of Tampa yesterday. At least we think it's big news. It could turn out to be nothing. It could turn out to be false hope. It's been before, but it seemed promising, involving the Rays. A terrific Game 6 in Buffalo last night. Very entertaining. And it's nice to see that a couple of storylines are finally playing out. We kept saying, well, so-and-so's got shaky goaltending. Well, it's finally playing out that so-and-so's got shaky goaltending. Boy, add another team to the Bobrovsky sweepstakes when they get eliminated Saturday night.
It's a good point. Definitely a good point. But, Buffalo's got 2 guys. Neither of them are A goalies.
No.
They're not.
Nope.
One was a backup last year, and he'd been playing a lot of these playoff games because he got hot. And then that's kind of the way they were going. Play the hot hand.
Right. But you knew it was going to cool off. You were just hoping it was going to cool off later than sooner. And it looks as if Sooner has won.
No, you're right. And I will say, I thought this last night, and I didn't text you because I didn't know if you were even up. So I left you alone. But I said it to my buddy, and we've been going back and forth on hockey. And, mid to late third, I just said, I'm starting to think Montreal's got a little more for Carolina than I thought a week ago. I'll still pick Carolina in the series. They're experienced. They were the better regular season team. They've got more depth, but the playoff depth of Montreal has been impressive.
Yes.
I mean, the fact that their second line centers got like 6 goals. They get this kid who doesn't score is leading them in goals. They got one of their top guys to finally get a goal last night. I mean, they are getting scoring from everywhere. And to use a Moulton line, you know what they're really good at? Face-offs. They are phenomenal in the face-off circle. And what does that mean? Well, when all of the power plays begin in the offensive zone, controlling the puck is everything. So I just think that there is more of a puncher's chance than I had given the winner of Montreal Buffalo when the series started, if you know what I mean.
Well, and Vegas certainly picked up their game at the end of both series, the first rounder with Utah and the second rounder with Anaheim, and they're going to have to bring their A stuff to make it a series against Colorado. But 3 of the 4 are set. Colorado and Vegas, Western Conference Final. That was predicted by many when the Western Conference playoffs got underway, considering both those teams won their divisions and they're both the most experienced. And Carolina waiting, and they may not have to wait much longer because Montreal up 3-2, and it'll be hockey night in Canada. Oh, are they thrilled? They have not had a Canadian team play the last 2 Saturday nights. Okay, they are foaming at the mouth for a Canadian team to be playing on hockey night in Canada Saturday in Canada, and they're going to get it, obviously, because there's only one game.
And David has lived by a theory on this show for 2 decades. Everybody deserves a parade.
Yep.
And I have said, not really. And there are certain franchises that I have been relentless on throughout our tenure together. One of them are the Toronto Maple Leafs. And did you see Marner's goal last night?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, first goal of the game, Vegas and Anaheim last night. It was like 1 minute in. Find it. Okay. I'll just tell you 2 things about it. He went between his legs and he was backwards. Okay. And remember, they're on skates. I just please find the goal. You could not like hockey. Find the goal. You'll even go, damn, that's impressive.
My buddy texted me, goes, did you see that? I'm like, and I just said, wow. And we have a mutual friend. He's a better friend of this guy, but this guy's from Canada and he's a diehard Leafs fan. And I immediately said, send the video to Marco because, Toronto can do nothing right now. They want to take shots at Marner that he didn't play hard for them or whatever the case may be. Maybe it's just getting the hell out of Toronto.
Yeah,
he's been great this whole season. Great.
Yes.
And arguably the best player for Vegas has been out for the past few games.
Right.
And shown. He's their captain, their leader. So, Marner's had to kind of, I don't know about assume the role of the captaincy, but there's more put on him from a scoring standpoint. And he's done nothing but deliver in this series.
And they played essentially the last 2 games because he got kicked out of Game 5 just a few minutes in for the hit, and then he was suspended for Game 6. I mean, they won the last 2 games of this series, Mark, without one of their top 2 defensemen.
Right.
He was the first-line D, and they played about last 112 minutes of this series without him. So Colorado, Vegas, and Carolina waiting for what right now looks to be Montreal. We shall see. A couple of Game 6s in the NBA tonight. Do these series end? Cleveland at home, up 3-2 against Detroit. San Antonio on the road, up 3-2 against the Timberwolves. The Knicks and Oklahoma City await. You know, I think, and the NBA hasn't confirmed this yet, because if by chance, Mark, Detroit and Minnesota win tonight, the Game 7s are Sunday. But that tells me that the NBA, let's just say Cleveland and San Antonio win tonight. My guess is one of the conference finals is going to start Sunday, and one of the conference finals is going to start Monday. Because what's a little more than a week out? Memorial Day weekend. And you could just quickly do the math. Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, it would be Game 4 Saturday, Game 5 Monday. Now let's do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Game 4 Sunday. The NBA wants, they have in the past, they've wanted one game per day / night of Memorial Day weekend.
No, you're right.
So I don't know if both Cleveland and San Antonio win tonight. I don't think they're going to get much rest.
That's a good point.
Good
It's a
or
dad-
bad.
You know what, David? I'll go as far to say it's a dadgum good point.
Wow. That's a nice way to start off a Friday show. With a dadgum good point.
It's a dadgum good point. I'll tell you what, another thing, we got a dadgum good show lined up. We really do. Kurt Becker to talk a little Preakness in the 7 o'clock hour. In the 8 o'clock hour, we'll talk the schedule. Ian Cummings. We knew who they play. Now we know when they play. Ian Cummings at 8 o'clock. A little Rays baseball, also in the 8 o'clock hour. And Marc Malusis to talk some New York sports at 9 here on Miller and Moulton. We'll come up with a poll question because we had one yesterday, so why not have one today? After all, it's a football Friday. The starting 5 is next.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
The Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Marc Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe
and
Your
sound.
roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Puck, I know you're all upset or you like to take shots at the Phillies fans. I don't know if you watched the presser. Scheffler thought it was funny. He said they weren't bad. They gave me some shots for being a Dallas fan. I thought it was pretty funny. That was actually his words. So you're actually oh, I didn't see that. I just saw you saying classy stuff with Philly fans, yelling at them on the green. I can't read them all that fast. I was busy. He's been great. Jets, he has, man. He really has.
I was going to pull the goalie. He gave up the third goal midway through the first, and the next stoppage, they were going to come out and kind of, clean out in front of the nets and go to commercial break. And I was going to pull the Montreal goalie at that next stoppage.
3 goals at 5 shots at that point?
Yeah, the 3 and 4 even. Although, and then he made a couple saves, but I was pulling him. Because I text you. I said, I think it's time. It's just time for him to get pulled for the first time. Oh. Oh. New York Jets, I think we did 2 weeks ago, but we'll ask him again. He's in favor of it, by the way.
And he never used to be.
No. Nope. When we started, he was the Triple Crowns, the Triple Crowns, the Triple Crown.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Marc Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes to the top of the hour. Good show lined up for you. We'll talk Preakness with Kurt Becker. We'll talk the Tampa Bay Rays with one of the voices of the Rays, Neil Solondz. We'll talk NFL with Ian Cummings. We'll talk the New York sports scene. A lot going on, including interleague play this weekend between the Mets and Yankees with Marc Malusis. The Moose, as he's known in New York, will join us. He won't be loose, but he'll be on our show.
He'll be, was he? Oh, no, the other guy was the Nick Carton was the Knicks fan. Carton would be just over the moon right now. He wouldn't care about anything in the world.
No, and if they start taking early games in the Eastern Conference Finals, he'd probably come on every day. I don't even know if we'd have to introduce him. One of us would just have to let him know you're on, and that would be it.
I like it. I like that. Maybe get him Brando next segment, and I'll just go down and make breakfast.
Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
Well, I'll get it over with. The schedules got released last night. There's a lot of different areas we could focus on. I think we will play some semblance of the schedule game later on in the show, at least with the quote-unquote locals. But there's an interesting tidbit or two. First off, the Rams have the most primetime games with 7, including their first 3 games. There's like 4 teams that have 6 and about a half dozen teams that have 5. But there are 5 teams that are not on primetime once this coming season. They are the Dolphins, the Jets, the Cardinals, the Raiders. And for some reason, I was surprised that the Raiders didn't get a primetime game. I was also surprised Tennessee didn't get a primetime game.
Which I saw a stat now because Tennessee didn't get one last year.
Right.
So this means the last 2 Heisman Trophy winners will go, have never had a primetime game. One for 2 seasons, one for his first season. I don't know when he'll start, but you get the point.
For what it's worth, week 1, Dolphins are in Vegas.
Let's see who's on the clock early.
Bucks are in Cincinnati. It's an intriguing
That's a good game. That's a good week 1 game. I like that.
And Jacksonville's home for Cleveland. Gotta win that one. We'll get back to the NFL schedule, I'm assuming, at some point later on in the show.
How can we not?
I do just want to throw this out there. We've got a couple of diehard Broncos fans, and I'm sure you already know this, but maybe you didn't zoom in on it last night. Just for you-know-what and giggles, folks, take a look at Denver's first 6 games. Wow, is it hard. I mean, I don't know how much harder it could be.
0-6.
Well, let's get carried away, but is it hard enough that, considering we think there may not be many teams that have a better roster than them, is their first 6 hard enough on paper that you take 3-3 now and run?
I would. I mean, David, it is extremely difficult.
Yeah. So,
They play at Kansas City, at San Francisco, at the Chargers. Home games with Jacksonville, the Rams, and the Seahawks. I mean, I'll take 3-3 and run. Because trust me, it gets easier after that.
PGA, par 70, Aronimink, Boy, it had some teeth after all. 7 golfers tied for the lead at 3 under, including Scotty Scheffler. First time he's ever been tied or in the lead after the first round of a major. Xander Schauffele, Patrick Reed, Shane Lowry in a group at 2 under. 19 golfers 1 under par. Jason Day, Brooks Koepka, Jordan Spieth, John Rahm, Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, and Garrett Higgo, who was 1 minute late to his tee time, got a 2-shot penalty on the first tee, and then proceeded to play his 18-hole round in 3 under. But that opening double bogey made it a 1 under 69.
But how about the 21-year-old South African tied for the lead? Potgieter.
Yeah, Potgieter there.
Potgieter tied for he's 21 years old. I mean, that's
right.
And the old man, the PGA pro that makes this tournament every year, Michael Block, shot 1 under with his kid on the bag. That's good stuff.
That's awesome. Hope he makes a cut. Those at even include Ricky Fowler, Matt Fitzpatrick, Cameron Young 1 over, Oberg and Fleetwood 2 over, Rory 4 over. Probably got to break par just to make the cut. And then there's Bryson DeChambeau. Hey, Bryson, you got to get your game together, man.
Bryson made a birdie. That was on 18 to shoot 76.
Which is 6 over. Hello. NHL, Montreal scored 3 in the second to take a 5-3 lead, added 1 midway through the third for good measure. Buffalo's goaltending really let them down in this one. I'd say they played their best game in the last 4 in the series and lost 6-3. Les Habitants, a game away from the conference finals. They'll try to win that game tomorrow night north of the border. Vegas eliminated Anaheim 5-1 thanks to 3 in the first. They win the series in 6. Game 1, Vegas and Colorado, Wednesday night in Denver. So, Mark, if Montreal wins tomorrow night, we don't have hockey till at least Tuesday, but it could be till Wednesday. I did not see the Eastern Conference Finals starting before Wednesday. We'll see. No NBA games last night, but 2 Game 6s tonight. Cleveland at home, a 3.5-point favorite. If they win, they eliminate the top-seeded Pistons, and they'll face the Knicks in the conference final. San Antonio, a 5.5-point favorite on the road in Minneapolis against the T-Wolves. If the Spurs win, it'll be the top 2 seeds in the West. Oklahoma City and San Antonio in the Western Conference Finals. Prime Video with both games tonight, 7 and 9:30, if you're a hoopster. Baseball, Tampa Bay Rays, along with Hillsborough County and the city of Tampa, announced a $2.3 billion MOU yesterday. That's a memorandum of understanding. What that basically does is it outlines the money. It says, this is what we're going to build. This is how much it's going to cost. Here's what everybody's going to pay. Remember, it's a 31,000-seat stadium. The Hillsborough College campus is going to be completely redone. Rays are going to finance $1.35 billion plus all overruns. $967 million is coming from local tax dollars. 800 of it basically from Hillsborough County, and about $1.80 coming from the city of Tampa. But this has to be voted on by both Hillsborough County and the city of Tampa, and they have separate votes scheduled for next week. As for baseball, the Rays were off waiting for the Marlins to get to town. And the Marlins gave up 5 in the second, lost to the Twins 9-1, and then flew to St. Pete because they're going to have a little interleague action this weekend. Mets swept the Tigers 9-4, benefited from some bad umpiring at a key point in the game when the Tigers were up 3-0 and threatened to blow it open. And did you see the play?
You talking about the play at first?
No, the play at third. You're up 3-0, runner on second, nobody out. Guy lines a single for Detroit to left. The base runner did hesitate, and it was a close play at third, but he's safe. And he was called out, but I mean, he's clearly safe. All the replays show he's safe. And it gets appealed by the Tigers, and they take a look at it. They go, upon further review, the guy is out. Whoa! Would have been first and third, nobody out, and a 3-0 lead. Instead, now you got a runner on first, 1 out. The starter calms down, doesn't give up any more runs for the next hour and a half. Bad break for the Tigers. Mets swept them. Phillies beat Boston 3-1. Schwarber's 18th homer of the season. Chris Sale pitched in tough luck last night. He gave up an unearned run in 6 innings, but the Cubs scored 2 and Atlanta scored nothing. So Sale takes the hard luck loss. Cubs beat the Braves 2-spit. J.J. Bleddy with 2 homers for the Reds. They beat the Nats 15-1. Pirates with 3 in the first beat the Rockies 7-2. Dodgers split the 4-game series with the Giants, winning last night 5-2. And Marc, the Dodgers are back in first because the Padres lost to the Brewers 7-1. Milwaukee jumped all over them with 3 in the first and 3 in the second. So Luke Raley hits a 3-run homer. Seattle beats Houston 8-3. But so much for the feel-good story that was Cal Raleigh breaking out of his long slump. He had no hits Wednesday night, and yesterday went on the injured list for the first time in his career. He's hitting like a $171 on the season. So is Mookie Betts, by the way, entering last night's game. But he did homer the night before. Cardinals scored 2 in the ninth, beat the A's 5-4. A's still above 500 by a game, and still in first in the West by a game over Seattle and Texas. And ladies and gentlemen, maybe it's the Pope. There's got to be some explanation for what in the wide world of sports is going on in the south side of Chicago. But the White Sox have won 5 in a row. They're a game back of first in the Central.
David, they're over 500. The American League now has 5 teams over 500.
Yes, they are.
And the 5th team is the Chicago White Sox.
Right. The 4th team is the A's, and the 5th team is the White Sox.
Right.
Right. Not the Blue Jays, the Orioles, or the Red Sox. Not Detroit.
Not Seattle. No.
Not Seattle.
The Athletics and the White Sox.
6-2 White Sox over the Royals. A game back, a game over 500. Winners of 5 in a row. Telling you, maybe it's the Pontiff. I mean, something's inspiring them. I don't know.
If the White Sox being over 500 don't make you believe in a higher power, I don't know what will.
Exactly. If that doesn't lead to more donations in the south side of Chicago, I don't know what will. What's more remarkable? We have a Pope from the south side of Chicago, or the White Sox are above 500?
The White Sox are above 500.
And as we approach 8 minutes before the hour, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories you need to know here on Miller and Moulton.
I think that orphanage and the Blues Brothers is getting funded off of this too.
You got that right. You got that right. But
too much.
So, I mean, St. Pete had a memorandum of understanding too. Okay, it does need to be pointed out. I mean, they need the votes. All the negotiations are great. The MOUs, on the verge of exciting, but there's 2 votes next week, and they got to go 2-0. They go 1-1, the plan's dead.
Well, and not to mention, like, there's already one guy from Hillsborough County who's a no. I mean, you know it going in. He's been saying it loudly and proudly for a while. I think there's I think they have the edge in Hillsborough County. David, I have no clue in Tampa. I don't.
So, listen, the governor came out and pretty eloquently came out yesterday and just laid it out and said they're going to Orlando if you vote it down.
Yeah, that's what he thinks. I don't know if Orlando can get this done either. I really don't.
Well, John Morgan came out earlier this week and said, I'll finance it in Orlando just to keep him in the state.
Yeah, he's got a lot of money. Does he have that money?
Well,
I mean,
I will say DeSantis did the same thing yesterday.
How many weed cases are there in Florida that he's doing right now?
Well, he is the biggest injury lawyer in the world. I mean, listen, when the governor came out and said, hey, they're going to Orlando if you guys screw this up, trust me, they got the money lined up, ready to go.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Marc Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Marc at that Marc Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller & Moulton.
Well, I certainly hope so, Jets. I really do. I will be bummed out if they don't. because that's not the best area. I mean, around Ray J and all that, that's kind of, downtown's nice. I mean, downtown, you can walk around. It's fantastic. I mean, you're still going to have all the strip joints there, but I mean, it will just clean up that area immensely. And then you have several different areas that are nice in Tampa. I think 10, 11's I went through Denver just quickly. I think 11's realistic. I do. The back half of their schedule is not hard. Obviously, you don't factor in injuries because if, Knicks goes down, they've got no shot. And obviously, he's injury prone now. I like saying that. Paula, Detroit's going to be 10-1. Telling you. Maybe 9-2. They're going to have the Division 1 before the last 2 games of the regular season with Green Bay and Chicago. Paula, and I'm not a Detroit fan. You know that. I don't care how the Lions do.
Just like
Giants may have the most difficult road schedule in the league. Look at their road games. Holy Toledo.
Yeah, I don't think they win more than 6. But
I mean, Paula, you need the Lions because the rest of Detroit sports are going to do nothing but let you down. The Pistons let you down 2 days ago. The Red Wings have let you down for damn near a decade. Probably even more than a decade because they were so good. The expectations were higher as they were getting bounced. And the Tigers are, right now the biggest disappointment. After getting swept by the Mets, the Tigers are the biggest disappointment in baseball. And I know the Mets and the Blue Jays fans and the Red Sox fans are going, what about us? By the way, the Phillies are like 2 games below 500 now.
what are they, like 11-4, I think, since firing the manager? 12-4, something like that.
I did see someone comment about the Pistons saying, don't worry, Cleveland doesn't deserve nice things. They'll lose the next 2 because the refs came out and said that wasn't a foul at the end of the game. Okay. It was a foul for, I thought it, I'm not surprised they didn't call it because of the time of the game, but
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Marc Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Kurt Becker later on this hour. We'll get you ready for the Preakness tomorrow. And even though the Derby winner is not in it, heck, I think there's only 3 horses from the Derby that are in it. It's a chance to win money. We're big fans of that on this show. Besides, we know the markets that we're in, a couple of them especially, you guys love your horse racing. So we're going to take care of you with our buddy, our guy, Kurt Becker, coming up in about 35 minutes' time.
a guy that we have watched change his mind. He was an adamant Triple Crown is over the course of 5 weeks, and that's the way it is.
Yep.
And even he is beginning to change his tune on that.
He's just said they don't train horses like they used to butt your head against the wall is foolish. You know, the analogy we came up with is it's like pitching nowadays. They just don't train the pitchers the way they used to. So to pitch them the way they used to, you're playing with even more fire than you are now.
I will say the pitching thing is it's a double. Not only, it used to be 4 days rest. We don't do that anymore. Or 3 days rest, rather, because you had a starting, you had 4 starters.
Right.
Now you have to have 5. Okay. So now they're getting another day off, and we're pitching them even less than we ever have.
Yeah.
Now it's 5-6 innings for the most part. If you get 6 innings out of your pitcher, you've gotten a pretty good day.
Yes, there are some pitchers in which the stats, Mark, are staggering when they pitch on quote unquote normal 4 days rest versus when they get a 5th day of rest. Like our guy Sale, he's a good pitcher on 4 days rest. He's one of the 6 best pitchers in the league on 5 days rest. I mean, he's just, and that's almost like being back in college. I mean, that you're basically pitching once a week, and then one of the 4 weeks in the month you pitch twice. That's like being back in college and being the Friday night starter.
Right. I got you. But also they're not asking them, complete games are unheard of now.
Right.
So it's a double. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying not only are they giving them more time.
Right.
They're
not working them as hard.
Yeah. Right. Now it's 100 pitches. It's not 120. Now, at least in college, David, those college coaches don't give a damn. They'll let that starter, particularly once you get to the postseason, 120, go for it. I don't give a damn.
Oh, it's so funny. I had lunch with FGCU's baseball coach yesterday, and we even talked about, and this was, Chris Sale, his last year at FGCU, which was 16 years ago. He didn't have an agent. You couldn't have an agent then. Now, these guys all have agents. So if you're the head coach / manager of these college baseball teams, you're having to deal with the agents from the minute you sign them. And, they're all over you about pitch counts and how often they're going to be used and how many innings and what have you. I mean, by the end of Sale's last year, Toe, felt the pressure of, hey, I got a high first round pick here. I can't screw this up. Yet at the same time, he's in the conference tournament and he's, he throws him 7 innings and like 100-something pitches. And his normal Friday night start would be to pitch in the 120s. But he was so close to the draft that I remember Toe taking him out and was like, we had a comfortable lead. I just didn't think I'd catch a lot of grief if I threw him one more inning. So,
by the way, I know no one cares, but because of ABS and the challenge system, we've lost the argument in professional baseball. There are very few. I mean, you may get one a year in which a manager throws a nutty for some unknown reason, where you'd get one a month before.
Although, have you seen what the recent arguments have been? It's that the home plate umpire either A, determined that the catcher or pitcher did not tap their helmet in time. Usually it's the catcher. And that they didn't tap their helmet fast enough, asking for the ABS challenge, so the home plate umpire doesn't give it to him. Or the home plate umpire missed it. I think it was Baltimore had a game against the Yankees earlier in the week. I think it was Baltimore and the Yankees. And the catcher for the Orioles right away, on a pitch that was borderline high, right away hits the top of his head. Home plate umpire missed it. So then when he turned around and he said, hey, I challenged that. Home plate umpire goes, no, you didn't. Manager's yelling for the dugout. He did it right away. Home plate umpire's like, no, he didn't.
Well, I got you. What I was going to say, though, is if you pay attention to social media, where the nutties still happen is college baseball. If you want to see the old school argument, like the TCU guy got tossed last week, apparently on something that was reviewed and still, like the announcer was like, I don't even know what he's arguing about. But he went bat blank crazy. And the best part is he got kicked out. And where he had to leave from was in the outfield on the left field side.
I love this.
His dugout is on the first base side. So by the time he's done arguing, he's on the third base side of the infield. So he has to walk back. He walks back to the dugout and gets his briefcase. Doesn't say to the third base coach, grab my crap. Nope. Walks slowly. Grabs his briefcase out of the dugout. And I don't know if I've seen anything that looks stranger, and I go to Walmart occasionally, than a manager of a baseball team carrying a briefcase.
In uniform.
Correct.
Right.
And then he has to walk from the first base side dugout to the outfield and left field where he vacates the stadium. And the announcers even said, it's going to take a while for him to get there.
Yeah, he was not hurrying. He was not speeding up the walk for anyone for any reason.
Well, while going through the infield, he could get his last words in as well. By the time he got out of the infield dirt, he kind of had no one to yell at anymore. But he certainly didn't hurry. But all I'm saying is, if you like a good argument, you might want to follow a couple social media sites that cover college baseball, because I think it was in Oklahoma. I mean, there was a Virginia Tech, North Carolina game where they were throwing at one another and showing up one another. The managers nearly got into a fight. I mean, there have been a handful of really good, idiotic things that have happened at college baseball this year.
And Mark, I blame it all on the fact that they're there too long. The games are too long. Okay, they're getting worn out by how long these games are. So once the game's already,
that's their because
totally.
They change pitchers a lot.
Well, also in college, they call every pitch from the dugout. The catcher doesn't call a pitch anymore. So it takes longer just to call the pitches and get the pitches thrown, and it's awful. I swear, you can't get a college baseball game done. It's tough to get one done in less than 3.5.
No, you're right. No, there's no doubt. But it's where the arguments are. That's all I'm saying. That was really my whole point of this. If you missed the old school with the passing of Bobby Cox and the Earl Weavers and all the great managerial blow-ups that we've seen over the years that are now gone from baseball and probably gone forever, we get it at the collegiate level. And from what I understand, at U8 games in San Carlos.
So I will say the one good thing that happens when someone of note passes away is that usually there are days and days of people storytelling, and you eventually, stumble upon some of them. And Chipper Jones had his favorite Bobby Cox ejection story, and he's telling it. And finally, I guess it was Hunter Wendelstadt's kid who ejected Bobby. And Bobby ends it. So apparently he threw Smoltz out of the game. Bobby tells Smoltz to stay on the mound. You're not going anywhere. And when they kept saying to Smoltz he had to leave, he said, nope, my manager said I'm still in the game. I ain't going anywhere. So finally, both Cox and Smoltz has to leave. And Cox turns to Wendelstadt and says, Hunter, you ain't a pit bull on your daddy's ass.
Chipper does tell great Bobby Cox stories, because I think there was a pitcher that Cox wanted to walk, and Maddox is on the mound.
It was Luis Gonzalez.
And Mazzoni comes out and tells him to walk him, and Maddox says, no, I got him. I'm going to throw him a changeup away, and then I'm going to throw him this. He's going to pop out to third. We're going to get out of it. And Mazzoni goes, okay. And he walks back in, and Cox is blowing up in the dugout, screaming at Maddox.
And Mazzoni. He's like, hey, I sent you out there to tell him to walk him. You don't come back and say you guys changed your mind.
And he's going nuts. And Maddox throws a change away, and I think it was like a fastball in.
Yep.
Or whatever the case may be. He pops to Chipper just out foul territory behind third base, and they get out of the inning. And that's when Chipper when Chipper talks about Maddox, he's like,
Chipper said, I'm laughing. The ball's in the air, and I'm laughing. And I'm saying, hey, you can't drop this because you're laughing so hard. But, he was on the mound. He heard the conversation, so he knew what was at stake. Bobby was just shaking his head. Mazzoni walks over to Maddox like, oh, man, you didn't just save your butt. You saved mine, too.
Mazzoni with that rock. He just rocked there, and Bobby Cox would get angry.
Did you hear the two Braves Tiger Woods stories involving Bobby Cox? One was Smoltz, and he was the veteran. He was established. And Smoltz just went up to Bobby. It was in spring training and said, Tiger invited me to play. And Bobby said, get the hell out of here. Okay. Jeff Francoeur's not fully established. Okay. And obviously he's not at the status of Smoltz. He doesn't tell Bobby. He tells Tiger, no, I can't. I got a spring training game. Cox hears about it before the game, goes up to him, says, are you seriously not playing golf with Tiger today because of a spring training game? Bobby says, ground the ball to second, start limping when you hit the bag, go inside, change, and go to the golf course. And so he did. Great stuff.
Miller and Moulton. David, we are obligated as a radio show to play the schedule game.
Yes.
It is a rule. It's not an unwritten rule. It's a hard and fast rule. The schedule game with the 3 Florida teams. Next.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Paula, that is the one vote that there is in Southwest Florida that says, I love that golf course. I've never heard that before. I don't know anyone that's ever said that before. I think you should call them and see if you can post on their social media sites.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not sure I'd play there if you paid me. I certainly wouldn't pay to play there. But I'm a snob. Well, I will say, Puck, I know you can slam Michigan all you want. Michigan has some of the greatest golf courses in the country. I'll put Michigan's courses up against Florida courses any day. Any day. Oh, I don't even care. The courses are, I mean, Arcadia Bluffs is, I think, is better than anything in the state of Florida. I mean, you got Stream Song versus I can't think of the name of the one resort, but you got the Bay Harbor Resort. If you want to compare that to Stream Song, I'd rather spend my time in Harbor Springs for 3 days in Petoskey than I would in the middle of the state of Florida. I mean, you've got some very rich, cost a lot of money clubs in Florida. Your Hole in the Wall and Concession and some of the stuff on the other Pelican on the other coast. But, you got Crystal Downs and Traverse City to Alistair McCall, the guy that did Augusta. What's his name? McAllister? No, that's not right. Whatever his name is. Same guy that designed Augusta did Crystal Downs. Apparently just ridiculous. McKenzie, thank you. Alistair McKenzie. Thank you, Michael. He also did the University of Michigan course, although a buddy told me what they redid to it made it not nearly as nice. Oh, I'm sure it is. It was just merely someone bragging on Florida. I know there's. No, I don't know where Mission. I don't even know where that is, EB. I have to be honest. I pay enough for my membership at one course. That's where most of my golf is played. And by most of it, probably 95%. I'm too cheap to be able to play anywhere else. I can barely afford to play where I play at.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Marc Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Kurt Becker will join us in a little more than 15 minutes time. And then, well, we've got 4 guests almost in a row. Got it limed up. Take a number, boys. Kurt Becker in a little more than 15 minutes time. Listen, I hardly mentioned it in the starting 5. I didn't mention it before then. Haven't mentioned it since. Okay. Pointed out that the Rams have the most primetime games, and the Broncos' first 6 games are about as hard as the NFL can stick it to a team. And the Giants' road schedule is hard for those that are,
It is
about a big comeback.
It's really hard.
That their road games are like, ooh, I don't know how many of these are going to win. So, I saw one more stat to back up the truck on the Cowboys for the opener against the Giants. Giants have the worst home opener record in the NFL the last 10 years. They're 2-8.
Yep.
So to review, the Redskins are 11-1 in season openers against the Giants.
The Redskins?
I'm sorry, the Cowboys.
And they're the Commanders. That's $1.
It is.
That's $1.
Okay.
You pulled a Miller right there.
And you know what?
You just called them the San Diego Chargers.
It should be $2 because the team is not even Washington. Okay.
Right. Yeah, you got both ends wrong.
Right.
Well,
So I called the Cowboys the Redskins, which in and of itself, it might even be a $5 fine. Okay, because them's fighting words. So the Cowboys are 11-1 against the Giants in season opening games. And the Giants, the last 10 years, have the worst home opener record, literally of all 32 teams. So another reason to back up the truck on the Cowboys week 1.
all right. I promised it. David does not seem to want to do it, but I'm going to make him.
No, I'm in.
We will start with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
Okay.
at Cincinnati.
Loss.
Home for Cleveland.
Win.
Win. Home for Minnesota. Win.
Win.
Home for Green Bay. 3 in a row in the hot weather. I mean, I will say 3 northern teams back to back to back in the heat. Only one's a 4 o'clock game. The other 2 are 1 o'clock games.
I'll give it a loss.
I'm going to give it a loss as well. 2-2. At Dallas on a Thursday. Loss.
Kind of torn there. Baker returning to Texas.
Right. We got 3 teams to get through. Go. Let's get a pick here.
Okay, just go. I'll go with you then.
Okay. Home for Pittsburgh. Win.
Uh-huh.
At Carolina. Loss. They're 3-4 in my world.
Yeah, all right. I'll have them 4-3.
Home for Atlanta. Win. They're 4-4. At Chicago Sunday night. Loss. Bye. At Detroit. Loss. They're 4-6. Home for Carolina. They lost the first one. They win the next one.
Yeah, so I got them 6-5.
And I've got them 5-6. Home for the Chargers.
Ooh.
Win.
Oh, look at you. A loss.
6. So we both have them 6-6 going to Baltimore where they're 6-7. Home for New Orleans, 7-7.
Yep.
At Atlanta, 7-8. Or do they sweep the Falcons?
Yeah, probably should go 7-8.
Home for the Rams.
Oh yeah, snap. Well, then they got to beat Atlanta. Okay, 8-8, and then what? They're at New Orleans,
New Orleans.
right? Because they finished by playing the Saints twice in their last 4 games.
Right. That looks like 8-9 to me, kids.
Yeah, I'll say 9-8.
All right, Jacksonville. They begin home for Cleveland. That's a win. At Denver, that's a loss.
Remember, Jacksonville went there and spanked them last year, but I hear you.
Home for New England. That's a win. 2-1. At Cincinnati. I'm going to take the Bengals.
Okay, I will too.
All right. The 2 London games. Philadelphia and Houston. They're going to win one of them.
Okay, so 3-3.
3-3. Bye. Home for Indianapolis. 4-3. At Baltimore. 4-4. At Tennessee, 5-4. At the Giants, 6-4. At home for Tennessee, I've got them 7-4. A little 3-game streak.
Well, that's a nice stretch right there. Tennessee, Giants, Tennessee.
7-4 heading to Chicago, 7-5. Monday night for Pittsburgh at home, 8-5. At Houston, at Dallas, back-to-back.
Loss, win.
I'm going to go loss. That's 8-7. Home for Washington, 9-7. And at Indianapolis to finish the season. 10 would give them the division, in my opinion, David.
Well, I think they lose at Indy to finish 10-7 in my world.
All right. I've got them 9-8, but I'm not, I'm not saying that you're wrong, if you know what I mean.
So I'm a game more optimistic about the Bucs and Jags than you are. For the record.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
And now we get the Dolphins.
Right. This is the big money bet here. This is, are we first overall in the draft? Over unders 4.5 is high stakes here.
All right, the Dolphins open their schedule at Vegas.
Loss.
A loss. Kirk Cousins is starting. At San Francisco, they're 0-2. Home for Kansas City, they're 0-3. At Minnesota.
Yeah. No. Keep going. I'll speak when there's a win.
All right, home for Cincinnati. Bye, and then at the Jets.
Ooh, here we go. Now we're sniffing around.
1-5 coming home for a 2-game homestand against New England and Detroit.
Well, that's 1-7.
At Indianapolis, 1-8. At Buffalo, 1-9. If we had them beating the Jets on the road, do they sweep the Jets?
No.
I think not.
No.
1-10. Home for Chicago, 1-11. At Green Bay, 1-12. Home for the Chargers, 1-13. Home for Buffalo, 1-14. And at New England, 1-15.
Well,
I'll go under the 4.5 for the or 1-16. They
All
could have,
right.
they'll win more than one game. They'll win 2 or 3 because they'll figure out a way to win a game or 2. But I don't have a problem right now going under the 4.5.
So I'll officially go on the books at 3-14.
I'll go 2-15 because it's more fun.
So I'm a game more optimistic than you on all 3 teams.
Yep.
All right.
I don't know if that has a Florida team making the playoffs in my world.
I was
In
just
the
going
best
to ask
team,
you.
Jacksonville's 9-8. I don't know if that'll be enough to get in the AFC playoffs.
Well, tough to count on that to be your wild card team. It
Right.
happens, but it's tough to count on.
Now, I think New England takes a big step back this year. I do. They had an easy schedule last year. I just don't anticipate the Patriots being nearly as good as they were. I think they're going to fight for the last wild card spot. I'm not doing the schedule game for the Pats. I don't even have it up. But I just don't see them being as good as they were a year ago. I think Buffalo wins that division, no questions asked.
So a guy who you and I both respect, who lives with numbers, Warren Sharp, he said that the Patriots' schedule last year was historically easy. He said that now that the schedule has come out, who they're playing where and when, that he grades it out as the 12th easiest schedule in the league this year, but that it's significantly harder than last year's schedule was.
So I think the Dolphins are firmly on the clock. Malik Willis is going to have to be great, and Achan's going to have to be even better if they're to get over 4.5.
Well, don't you think you got to win week 1 if you're going to go over?
100%, David. 100%. We'll talk to Preakness. Kurt Becker. He's next.
Marc Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Core-Tech and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Coming up now, Michael. That's his guy. He's a Jersey guy. And if you're saying you don't like Springsteen because of the music, that's fine. If you're mixing politics and art, I think we laugh. I don't follow any of my musicians because of their political beliefs, or actors or athletes. Don't care. And if you liked him before and don't like him now because he's taken on the president, come on. What side did you think he was on? Morning, Kurt.
Hey, fellas, how are you?
Doing great. Yourself?
Good.
We are coming live here in 5 seconds, so your timing was perfect.
He knows when the race starts.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes to the top of the hour. Ian Cummings to talk the NFL and the schedule release at the top of the hour. Neil Solondz, one of the radio voices, although him and Andy have been called in to do a little television lately. He'll join us an hour from now. Memorandum of Understanding with the Rays. Plus, oh, by the way, they have the best record in the American League. And we'll head to New York in our pro hour, our bonus hour. The Moose is loose. Marc Malusis will join us. But Kurt Becker, he's been our horse racing guy for 15 years. The voice of Keeneland. He joins us once again here on Miller and Moulton. Kurt and all our guests joining us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. How are you?
All is well, gentlemen. Good to be back with you.
Well, obviously, this is a couple in a row now where our Derby winner is taking the Preakness off. And Kurt, we've had you on for a lot of years. And I remember when we first started, David and I were like, hey, what about spacing these out once a month? And you were like, not only no, you were hell no. No way we're changing the Triple Crown. When we talked before the Kentucky Derby, it sounded like you have changed your mind a little bit. And we equate this to, pitchers in baseball. We used to pitch every 3 days off, they'd pitch complete games, 120, 130 pitches. Well, they're not trained that way anymore. They get 4 or 5 days off. They pitch 5, 6 innings. Horses aren't trained the same way. So with the pending Preakness television network change looming, are we about to see a change in the way the Kentucky Derby is run, or way the Triple Crown is run?
I think there's a lot more talk about it, and I think maybe one of the reasons that it could happen at some point, I've talked to folks who bring in the aspect also of medication, and we're talking legally approved medication, but my understanding is under the Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Act, the HISA rules, if you give a horse certain medications, HISA stipulates the horse cannot come back and run until a minimum of 3 weeks have passed. So that could be a big factor. And again, we're not talking, it's all on the up and up. We're not talking about anything like, those are things that horsemen shouldn't give their horses. No, HISA says you can, but you're not going to run for a minimum of 3 weeks. Having said that, with this year's horse, I don't think Golden Tempo was going to come back and run regardless. Here's why I think that. The folks that own that horse, the Phipps stable and Vinnie Viola, they know that horse was 23-1 in the Kentucky Derby. I think that they looked at it and they're thinking, okay, let's be realistic here. He ran a heck of a race. We got the Derby under our belt. This is not a horse that needs to come right back and prove anything. We're better to go sit on the sidelines, wait to come back in the Belmont June 6th. So I really don't think Golden Tempo was going to be in this race regardless.
Do you think it was also the racing style of the horse? That was a horse that liked to hang in the back, okay, in theory likes a longer race so that it gives them more time to come from behind. So once again, what's the Preakness? It's the shortest of the three, so that just the horse's style of running may suit the Derby. It probably suits the Belmont the best.
That's a good point. And in fact, what even complicates it more for this year, with the Preakness being held at Laurel instead of at Pimlico, the way that the Laurel racetrack is laid out, they are one of these tracks that has two finish lines depending on the distance of the race. You've got the short stretch, or you've got the full length of the stretch, you might say. The Preakness is going to be run, it's going to finish in the shorter stretch at Laurel. So you're right. You take a horse who lopes along for the first half mile and takes a while to get into gear, throw in a shorter stretch on top of everything else, not conducive to a horse who came from out of the clouds in the Derby.
No doubt. And, and I do laugh. Look, I don't care. I picked the wrong horse. I had Commandment. And I go back to the horse that was DQ'd a few years back, and David had picked that and was right. I'm watching Commandment come down the stretch, and literally two horses sandwich him. Okay, there's no foul. This is the Derby. Crazy stuff happens. The fact that Golden Tempo was able to maneuver his way through all those horses is as impressive as the win to me, Kurt.
I agree. I have not heard any of the connections of Golden Tempo say what was the specific strategy going into the Derby, or if they just left it up to jockey Jose Ortiz and said, you do what you think is best. That horse was so far. He was not only last, he was like 10 lengths behind the second to last horse through the opening half mile. I wonder if they've swerved into a strategy that is a better strategy for the Derby than jumping right into the battle right off the bat. Because by the time they turn for home, you're right, other horses, they're beating and banging on each other. The nostrils are flaring. They've been tense the whole way. And to a large degree, they are both physically and maybe even mentally worn out. Here comes this horse. He's just starting his run. And the way Ortiz, I think Ortiz knew, I've saved enough ground around the first turn. I can afford to send this horse wide on the second turn because I've not asked him to even run. And it was a brilliant strategy.
Before we go forward with the Preakness, I just want to go back with one more question. And this might be unfair because you probably haven't thought about it, and I'm asking you to come up with something on the fly. But it struck me that, I think 5 of the last 7 Derbies, we've had a real long shot finish in the money, like 50 to 1 or higher. We had the one winner, we've had a place, we've had like 2 or 3 thirds. Are we just going through a thing, or am I going to have to start doing $2 box on every horse that's 50 to 1 or higher? Because if I had done that, say there's 6 horses in a race, I'm spending $36. If one of them cashes, I make a fortune. Hell, one could cash every 3 years. I'd make my money back.
Well, I think that one of the factors at play is ever since Churchill Downs put in the point system for a horse to qualify, instead of the old days where for years it was if your horse won enough money in graded stakes, you got to go into the starting gate. And you would often see horses that won a large purse as a 2-year-old or maybe very early at 3. By the time the Derby rolled around, they weren't as sharp. Now, I think since 2013, we've had this point system. And they weight these races where the biggest points are paid out in those final prep races. And I think you get a lot of more horses that are coming into the race that they are truly hot horses, meaning that they are coming into peak form at just the right time. No more of this stuff that, oh, hey, my horse had a big run in a 2-year-old race like the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, but he hasn't done as much since then. I think that has made the field more competitive. Having said that, I think that the styles of race riding in the Derby have changed. I remember as a kid, it seemed pretty mundane. You would see a horse make a nice little move off the turn, be in front with a furlong to go, and kind of open up by 2 or 3 lengths, and everybody would politely applaud, and we'd go on down the road. It seems like we have jockeys nowadays who maybe are a lot more aggressive, and you've got these 20-horse fields, fellas. When I was a kid, I remember in the 70s, a lot of 9 and 10-horse fields. Now you've got so many investors in the game that are paying big money for these horses as yearlings. They're firing a lot of money at it. They're going through the whole prep season trying to gain those points. The days of the genteel, blue-blooded farms, maybe 4 or 5 controlling the sport, those days are gone. It's more of a business now, and as a result, I think you get more horses, different format, putting 20 horses on that narrow track built in 1875. Great track. I love it. But the reality is there's a whole lot more pushing and shoving and rooting and gouging, which you guys made reference to when this began, our interview here. And I don't know. I mean, even Sovereignty, he goes on to be Horse of the Year. He paid what, 18, 20, 22 bucks something last year. Even he was a good price.
All right. Some good prices in the Preakness because we're not really sure. A lot of unknowns. It's one of the things that, as someone who loves the Derby, I'd like to know more horses in the Preakness. I don't want to have to do all this research, so I'll let you do it for me. I know you liked Incredible in the Derby. He didn't do what you wanted there, but he's one of the 2 favorites, 5-1. I got to think your money's there, Kurt.
He is going to be my top pick, and here's why. First of all, full disclosure, I picked Further Ado in the Derby, and he just didn't have it. Finished 11th. So your listeners might want to take this with a grain of salt. But Incredible, I thought Incredible ran a huge race to come from deep in the pack in the Derby to finish where he did. He ended up finishing 6th. He's going to be my top pick. Another horse I like in the Preakness is Chip Honcho from the barn of trainer Steve Asmussen. Steve's a good trainer. He has won this race before. And if you like to bet jockeys, that's where Jose Ortiz has landed for this race. Because with Golden Tempo not running, you get your Derby winning jockey freed up. He's going to ride Chip Honcho. So if you follow the jockeys and like to put a couple of bucks down on a jock, that might be a way to go there as well. A couple of other horses, fellas. The Hell We Did and Talkin'. They both will be, they're 15, 20-1 on the morning line. If they go off anywhere near that price, they seem to be coming up to this race, maybe sitting on a big one, getting ready to run a pretty good race.
Pimlico going to be ready for next year?
They say it will. Now, fellas, we heard the same thing about the Belmont rehabilitation of the Belmont facility on Long Island. Pardon me. I think they will, but we all know sometimes even the best laid plans don't come to fruition when people hope. But I've got faith in them. I think it does go back there next year.
David asked this earlier in the week, and I don't know what the answer is because these, as we've pointed out, the races are all separate entities. It's like the majors in golf. The British and U.S. Open and the Masters and PGA have nothing to do with one another. The same thing with the 3 Triple Crown races. Can the Preakness, the Derby, and the Belmont come to an understanding, come to an agreement, so that if they do get the spacing, that these horses that win the Derby can be financially incentivized like they used to be? There used to be a point system, and whoever won the thing got more money. Is there something that can be done to get more Derby horses to run all 3 races?
Well, and I've heard a lot of thoughts on this. Keep in mind, I think a lot of people in the horse business, whether they're trainers, owners, horse players, sometimes they want to pull their hair out because of what they see as a lack of communication or coordination between racetracks throughout the year on post times and scheduling and so forth. So I don't want to sound naive or be like Mary Poppins and say, oh yeah, fellas, they will always work together to make sure it works out. They've all got their own vested interests. I have heard thoughts that, some people are saying, set this thing up, as you said, put the financial incentive out there, maybe run first Saturday in May, first Saturday in June, first Saturday in July, which probably lands you somewhere around the 4th of July. There was a time, guys, where the Preakness used to come before the Derby. There was a time, I believe, a couple of years, the Preakness and Derby going way back even ran on the same day. All I know is based on history, anything is possible.
Kurt Becker, follow him on X at Becker Trackside, the voice of Keeneland. Okay, once again, your winner in the Preakness is?
I'm going to go with Incredible.
All right.
And that,
Kurt,
in case
as
people
always.
wonder, that's number 12. If you want the number 12, incredible.
Okay. Kurt, as always, we wish you and your family the best. We'll certainly talk in a few weeks. Between now and then, have a good holiday.
Fellas, you do the same. It's always a pleasure. We'll catch up soon.
Kurt Becker, who Marc had to be thrilled at the Derby ratings,
Oh, yeah.
were big.
By the way, as two guys who talk for a living, how do we not bet on talking at 20-1?
I hear you.
That's got to be where we put our money. I mean, that's putting your money where your mouth is, so to speak, if you know what I mean, David.
Is there a trainer or a jockey on talking that we know?
Not really.
No? Okay. Because I'm a sucker for a jockey. I bet Mike Smith for 20 years. I'm a sucker for a jockey.
And I'm just a sucker. You can look at my Twin Spires account and see exactly why. Miller and Moulton, some NFL schedule talk coming up.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Core-Tech and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Marc Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Marc at that Marc Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I mean, guys, if you're following, I don't care what actor, what musician, what athlete, and you're taking their political comments as gospel, that's nuts. I don't care what side it is. Whether it's Bruce Springsteen or James Woods, I'm not listening to them. I'm subscribing. I like what Billy Bob Thornton said. I don't. He's in the Ricky Gervais thing. Get your award and blank off. But they've been doing it. I mean, Sinatra got Kennedy elected, for crying out loud. It's been going on for over 60 years. But to me, you just blindly follow someone because of the letter next to their name. I think that's just as crazy. Sorry to go political. I come on. I mean, your guy can be wrong too. Whatever guy it is. And those comments are mine, not David. So I will hold up to that. Sorry. I just, when someone attacks a musician, that's just, I don't, all the musicians I like, I don't agree with politically. I don't. I don't think they're going to be good, Red Dog. I don't. I don't like the roster at all. I like the home schedule to sell my tickets. And I'll quit, Johnny. I'm sorry. That's my fault. I apologize. By the way, New York Jets, little footnote, because I looked it up. They started racing the Triple Crown the way they did in 1969. Should we put an asterisk next to Secretariat's name because Sir Barton won the thing in a span of 13 days? I mean, no. I do apologize, Johnny, because I'm sure I pissed somebody off by saying that. I can't attack musicians for their political beliefs. I know the way most of them think. You should too.
I don't know why you guys care. I mean, who cares? You like their music. You think they're a good actor or actress. Who cares? I mean, you have your political beliefs. What are the odds that anybody's going to change them on anything? So I don't know why you care.
The modern Triple Crown began in 1969. That's all I know. The spacing, it says, was quite varied over the years. But Sir Barton won all 3 races in 13 days.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Marc Miller and David Moulton.
Well, we're halfway home. So somewhat football Friday, but I mean, we got golf. Hell, we have horse racing, never mind hoops and hockey and interleague baseball throughout this weekend. And still in mid-May, your first place Tampa Bay Rays. Hell, even the White Sox are above 500. These are some crazy times, ladies and gentlemen, in the sports world, never mind specifically in Major League Baseball. Neil Solondz, one of the voices of the Rays, will join us in 35 minutes' time. We'll head to New York for the Moose. Marc Malusis will join us. Talk a little Jets, Giants, Yankees, Mets, Knicks. But Ian Cummings, kind enough to join us once again, Pro Football Network, also an NFL draft analyst. Follow him on X, IC_draft, IC_draft. Ian, it's David and Marc. Good morning. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. We've had some time to decompress since the NFL draft, but as you saw yesterday, NFL schedule release, very exciting times, and we have a new look at what the season's gonna bring out. So happy to be talking with you here.
All right. Well, what is there something that jumped out to you at the schedule? One of the things we saw, a team like the Giants that people are pretty high on. Well, their road schedule looks to be really difficult. Was there something that when you saw the schedule that you went, well, this changes the way I think about this team?
There were a few, I would say. I think, and the schedule is always interesting because we only have to go off of, right, the strength of schedule from the previous year, the performance of teams from the previous year, right? So obviously we don't know what's going to happen. There's some inherent volatility, but I think, a couple teams that stood out to me as having maybe easier paths, and they're in a position to potentially bounce back, the Commanders and the Chargers. I think the Commanders in particular, the divisions that they play, the AFC South, facing some vulnerable teams like the Colts before they get Daniel Jones back, right? And then also facing some teams in the NFC East that are a little more vulnerable as well. I'd say some weaker teams like the Cardinals and the Dolphins got stuck with really tough schedules relative to their experience level right now. So overall, I think, we're seeing a greater degree of parity in the NFL now, I think year over year than we have maybe 10 years ago. But that still doesn't mean there are some teams that I think get positioned in better situations than others. Let's say the Chargers, the Commanders were a couple of my winners. I think the Cardinals, the Dolphins, the Bears, and I think anyone in the NFC North. I mean, that's a very tough divisional draw that they got as well.
All right. You first mentioned the draft, and obviously that's something that you specialize in. Just upon further review, now that you're 3 weeks removed and you've gone over it many times, give me 2 or 3 teams, kind of like what you just did with the schedule. 2 teams that you look at now and go, wow, they've really helped themselves. And 2 teams that you look at them and go, yeah, I have no idea what they were doing.
Yeah, I think there were a few in both categories for me. I think the ones that, again, the Commanders, I mentioned them with the schedule, right? They obviously needed a big bounce back off season, right? After going 5-12, missing the playoffs, after making it to the NFC Championship. I think their draft with the limited amount of capital that they had, right? Only 6 selections. I think they really did everything they could to strengthen their roster, getting Sonny Styles, getting Antonio Williams is a really good wide receiver too, alongside Terry McLaurin. And then they got, I believe, 3 more top 100 players on my board in day 3. So a really good value acquisition all the way around. I think the Carolina Panthers were another one, right? Obviously, Bryce Young entering a very crucial year for his development and his long-term growth in Carolina, getting Monroe Freeling to boost up that offensive line, getting Lee Hunter as a really solid one-tech nose tackle alongside Derek Brown, Chris Brazell, a speed threat, Will Lee, a potential starting corner, Sam Hecht, who I think can be a starting center. They got him in round 5. So the value was really good with those teams as well. As far as teams that didn't really live up to the expectations, the Cardinals are one team that I was a little lukewarm on. I think I've warmed up to their draft a little more since then. Jeremiah Love in round 1. I love the player, but I'm unsure if it would have maybe been better for this roster, needing blue chip talent in the trenches to maybe trade back and get an offensive lineman, a defensive end. To their credit, they did get Chase Besantis in round 2, who I liked a lot. But Carson Beck, also the top end of round 3, I thought was a massive reach on my board. He was a late day 3 guy. Getting him at round 3, I don't love the value there. I think he'll max out as a, probably a replacement level starter, spot starter, high level backup. But that's not something you take at the top end of round 3. And then I know the Jaguars, they got lambasted for their class. I'm willing to see it out and see how it progresses, right? But obviously getting Nate Borkercher, who again was a mid to late day 3 guy in round 2, right? Mainly a blocking tight end with not a ton of receiving value. And then some other picks like Albert Regis, Jalen Husky. Again, these guys have confined roles, but they were day 3 on my board. I think the Jaguars took some liberties with the value there.
All right. When you look at Mendoza, when would you start him? They got Kirk Cousins for a reason. Does he play the last third of the year? Is he a viable week 1 starter? When you look at the Raiders right now, if you were running that team, what would you do with their first overall pick?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because one, I a lot of rookie QBs, they suffer when they're put in before they're ready, right? You know, the early pressure erodes them. I don't think Mendoza is particularly at risk of that. We watched him play in college, and I think his grit, his toughness, his ability to withstand adversity in high pressure situations, that was one of his greatest strengths. And I think you have a Raiders team that's going to be more cohesive with Clint Kubiak as the offensive mind behind it. They improved on the offensive line. The weapons core is a little uncertain at wide receiver. I still would have liked them to add more, but Brock Bowers is a dynamic weapon, and they have a pretty easy schedule out of the gate. The Dolphins and the Saints within that window, but then it gets a little tougher. You got the Patriots, you got the Bills, you got the Rams as well, 49ers and the Seahawks in that window. So I mean, you could start him early, but if that stronger stretch proves to be a little bit too trepidatious for him, I could see him maybe coming in sometime in November, right? Again, I think it's also partly dependent on Kirk Cousins. The presence of Kirk Cousins means that you don't have to start him right away, but we also saw Cousins post Achilles injury was not as good as he was earlier in his career, and ultimately the leash will probably be pretty short with Mendoza looming behind him. So I think I could see November, but I could also see Cousins, if he doesn't perform up to par, that could force Mendoza into the picture. And I think the support is good enough where it's not going to erode his development.
Ian Cummings, PFN, Pro Football Network, covers the NFL, big in the NFL draft. Follow him on X at IC_draft, IC_draft. Is it too much of a generalization for me to say that, listen, these guys travel better than ever before, and that we really shouldn't put much, if any, weight into how many miles, how many international games, playing the week after an international game? Or do you still think, oh, no, that adds up, that matters?
I think I would say it equalizes for the most part across the league. You know, I don't think it's too much of a discrepancy on one end or the other. That said, I think the main issue that I have, right, is one, international games, two, I think the new Wednesday games that they've implemented, right? I think we hear more often from players about how that short Thursday week can really affect recovery from injuries, being fresh for the next week, having more time to prepare or less time to prepare than your opponent does. I think that ultimately is the greater risk here. And I think that, like you said, travel, I think at this point, you're largely well accustomed to it, right? There are more international games, but also they're kind of confined to the middle of the season when you started to gain a rhythm. So I think it's a little bit easier for them to accumulate within that sense. But I do think the greater influx, I would say, of shorter weeks, I think that could stack up for certain teams. And I'll be honest, I'm not super fresh off the top of my head on which teams have the most shorter weeks. So that would be a good thing to look into in the coming weeks. But I will say, when you're trying to recover from injury or prep and install on a truncated timeline, that type of gridlock, that type of fatigue can add up. And I think it can affect your preparation, your readiness for a certain game. And maybe it puts some teams at a disadvantage, right? I think it's important for the NFL to be mindful of that. And I would be apprehensive. I would be wary of adding more of that, right? I think we're probably near the point of diminishing returns, near the bottleneck where it's going to really start to disadvantage certain teams.
All right. Looking ahead to the 27 draft, we went through the Dolphins schedule. And like you said, one, we don't expect the Dolphins to be good. Two, the schedule is reasonably difficult. The odds are, if they're favored in a game, it's either week 1 against Vegas, if Mendoza's playing, or the home game against the Jets. If I were to tell you the Miami Dolphins are on the clock, would you buy into that theory today?
Listen, it depends partly on Malik Willis. You invested a lot into this QB who hasn't really proven a lot. I watched all of his reps on all 22. Granted, it's not a lot, right? It was a very, very small sample size last year. He does look better than he did as a rookie, right? As an early career player, but there's a ton of uncertainty with that projection. And it's a very young team. I think for the Dolphins to exceed expectations, they need to have a rookie class contribution on par with what the Patriots got last year, right? The Patriots got a ton of rookie contributions. The Dolphins, they got a lot of volume from this class, and I do like a lot of their picks. But I also am apprehensive. This team was literally working from the ground up in terms of the talent they had. So I would tend to agree with that assessment, right? I don't think they're going to be favored in many games. I do think that having the 2 games against the Jets gives you an opportunity to maybe get 1 or 2 there, right? And then we'll have to see how Mendoza acclimates with the Raiders, right? Or maybe Cousins is still playing at that point, but that could be a winnable game. But I do anticipate Malik Willis is the wild card. He is the catalyst if he does play better than expected. If he doesn't and things level out, I could see them getting below 5 or 4 wins. And at that point, you're looking at a top 5 pick, and you can either get Jeremiah Smith, the wide receiver 1, to even further bolster that receiving core. I know they got Caleb Douglas, Kevin Coleman Jr., Chris Bell, but I only see Chris Bell, if he's healthy, as a day 1 start. I do like Kevin Coleman Jr. a lot as a slot guy, though, and Caleb Douglas has a ton of upside. But you can get that dynamic playmaker, or you can look at Arch Manning or Dante Moore. I think the opportunity will be there, and ultimately, I don't see them getting more than 5 or 6. I think that's to go beyond that. Malik Willis would have to drastically exceed expectations.
Ian Cummings, Pro Football Network, covering the NFL. He's big on the draft. Heck, it's in his handle. IC_draft. IC_draft. Ian, thanks so much. We appreciate it. We'll talk again down the road, hopefully.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. Thank you.
Ian Cummings, Pro Football Network, joining us once again here on Miller and Moulton. As we've mentioned, all guests joining us, American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Figuring out how to give good phone and do the show at the same time. A lot of tricks to that. New stuff here. I think I've got that end figured out, David.
You've had your toys now for about a week and a half. We've had some on-air mishaps, but it's all because we're trying to get it perfect. And part of that is you giving good phone. And you were excellent, that segment, by the way. Excellent.
All right, that's enough of that. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Core-Tech and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Marc Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton. Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. We'll talk Rays coming up with Neil Solondz, one of their radio voices. And we'll head to the New York sports scene. Interleague play this weekend. Knicks waiting to see whether it's Cleveland or Detroit, and sooner rather than later. Jets-Giants schedules. We'll just check in with the Moose, Marc Malusis. Haven't talked to him in a while. He was available. I said, let's do it. I don't know what you've heard because you were very anti the schedule this year, which is fine. I get it. And I did live up to I didn't take a look. I didn't watch a second of the show. You know, I was only interested in the Monday Night Football schedule. That's it. I was very selfish. Just want to know where I was going. And I'm more surprised about where we're not going. I'm stunned, actually, at all the places we're not going. And we got 5 trips out west, by the way. I mean, you figured with all the good teams out west, you know, if you do primetime NFL, you're going to head out west this year. But this is my most amusing scheduling story. So week 4, and the game does happen to be on Monday night, the Saints are hosting the Falcons.
This is I don't think there's another scheduling story that's worthy of talking about from a behind the scenes, but please go on.
So teams put in requests. They do, you know, like, hey, can you put our bye after the international game, you know, or could we have it here? They put in, you know, could you help us out? Sure. And we'll do the best we can. I guess, Marc, and I think you heard the same thing I did. Like, the only thing that the Falcons asked of the league was, yeah, we had to play in the first Katrina game in New Orleans 20 years ago. When you schedule the Saints to host the Monday Night Football game fairly close to the 20th anniversary of the opening of the Superdome and another Katrina game, could it not be us? It's a division rival. It's an important game. Can we just, you know, we took it on the chin 20 years ago. We got it. Just not this time. Okay. Just pick somebody else. And the league went, okay, we'll take it under advisement. Marc, week 4, who are the Saints hosting?
The Falcons.
Yes, they are.
They're hosting the Falcons
In what's being dubbed as the 20th anniversary of the Katrina game. Right. You know, Steve Gleason.
I want New Orleans to win by 50.
Well, I want them to block the first punt. I do. I may come right out of the booth if they block the opening punt.
I mean, this is an actual, I will say, Tampa and Carolina has developed into a little bit of a rivalry.
Yeah.
Tampa fan, tell me I'm wrong. If you think that you have a better rival in the division, let me know who it is. And I know because of, Evans and...
with the Saints corners. Yeah. That got nasty. There's no doubt.
But they're both gone. That was a mano thing that made that rivalry more fun. But the Falcons and the Saints genuinely don't like one another. And there was a long run in the early part of this century where the home team couldn't win. In the early part of the 2000s, if you just took the road team and the points, you did really well. Now, it hasn't been that way in a while, but they were in the NFC West together when that was the silliest geographic division in the history of sports.
Right. Because, of course, you had San Francisco, Los Angeles, Atlanta, and New Orleans in the same division. Right.
So they've played against each other for a long time.
In the beginning.
They were both bad for a long time.
At the same time, and then they both got pretty good at the same time. You know, Hebert and Mora with the Saints and Glanville and Atlanta, late 80s, early 90s. So it was funny. They both got good at the same time.
But that's the best rivalry in that division.
Oh, without question. They play each other for free.
Right. We did have the cheerleaders fight in the Tampa Bay, Carolina series, which brought out the best in both franchises. I mean, anytime we can get a cat fight in a divisional game, I'm here for it. Okay. I just want to let you know that.
Right.
But it's not the Falcons and the Saints.
No, that was when the Panthers and the Bucks channeled their inner Arkansas, Mississippi State. They did that for a couple of years. I mean, they really, they lowered the bar and got scratch your face with the nails nasty.
By the way, speaking of rivalries and kicking a team when they're down, Clay Travis, who is a Tennessee Volunteer fan, he is. And Tennessee and Florida are, I think they're a really good rivalry. It would be better if they were both good. But for those of you that remember great Gator teams, well, Spurrier, some of his best lines were taking down the Volunteers, David. Can't spell citrus without UT. I mean, it's gold. It was gold then. It's gold now. But I thought Clay Travis had an all-timer yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
Apparently, jean shorts are making a comeback.
Unbelievable, by the way.
And look at yoga pants, Daisy Dukes. I'm going to go Daisy Dukes on the ladies. I am the right lady. But on men, there's something about jean shorts that just scream Talladega to me. But Clay Travis came up with this yesterday. It feels like it happened overnight. But after decades in the fashion wilderness, jean shorts are back. Every teenage boy in Nashville is wearing them, including my sons. Huge moment for Florida Gator fans everywhere. It's your time. Ouch. God, that's good. I had to share that. When I read it last night, David, I forwarded it to you, forwarded it to my kid, and I laughed on my couch for 5 minutes.
Yep. Mid-May, that's SEC rivalry humor right there. This would seem like a good time to go after the Gators.
Right. And, for a Tennessee fan to go after anybody right now is rich.
It sure is.
But we have a rule on this show. Funny's funny.
Funny is funny.
And that's funny.
Yeah, it is. It is. And if you're Summerall, by the way, you'd save that quote too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you asked to go on Clay's show, not his political show when he does sports, on Outkick. You asked to go on it. And if you were smart, you'd put on a pair of jean shorts and you'd do it by video link and you'd show them, hey, just so you know, I got dressed up for the occasion.
I don't know if I could go that far. It'd be funny, David, but I don't even know if I could go that far.
But the Falcons made one request to the NFL. That's it.
Yep.
Please, just not this game. Okay. Do whatever you want to do with us, just not this game. They went, okay. Schedule came out yesterday. Atlanta's playing in that game. Again. If you're Matt Ryan, you got to be like, really? Really? So this is how the NFL operates, huh? I'll be damned.
Crickets from the NFL office.
Yep. That's when they say, hey, we had a tough job. We did the best we could. We tried, but, It's not on the actual date. It's just a few days later. Neil Solondz next.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Have any of you watched any of the schedule release videos that the teams have put out? I have not. I've heard about a couple. Apparently the Chargers had Bo Nix as like a, I don't know, movie action hero, and they blew out his right ankle. The Broncos are all upset. One of the teams, I think it was the Colts, made fun of Vrabel and Rossini.
I thought it was the Chargers, but I'm not positive.
Oh, okay. So the Titans go and do a man on the street in Nashville, and it's usually very funny.
Oh, it was the Colts? Okay. I read it wrong. Oh.
Okay. I say we'll stick with the Chargers.
All right, Neil, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, great. Yep, we're going in 10. Thanks again.
you got it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Marc Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. That's when the Moose joins us, Marc Malusis from New York. I got a few things going on. Yankees, Mets, interleague. We'll talk to the Moose about it. Neil Solondz is kind enough to join us. We're thrilled to have Neil on. You can follow him on X at Neil, NeilSolondz. 15 years, part of the Rays Radio Network, his fourth year in the booth. Neil, it's David and Marc. Thanks for doing this. How are you?
Got it. Good morning. How are you guys?
Well, we are good, and we know you work for the team, and wherever the games are, you'll go and do them. But, you fly back, you get in at 5 a.m, you go to bed, you wake up yesterday, and the news is, hey, we at least have a memorandum of understanding. I mean, this thing might happen after all. I'm just curious, as somebody who's lived in the area a long time, just works for the Rays, your thoughts on the news from yesterday?
Well, obviously we've been, the effort to get stadium for a long time, and the reason when I came here, my daughters were 4 and 5, and obviously at 15 years or 18, always moved the thought that this would be for the Bay team, and I have confidence now, and optimistic and hopeful that it's worked out.
Well, one thing that's worked out is the way the season started for the Rays. I mean, they've been a team that's always pitched well, but their production with the bats was terrific when the pitching wasn't. They have been to us a little over their skis. I mean, look we know they're always competitive, but to be as good as they are, how much of it is a surprise to you?
Well, if any team went 26-7, you would say that they're performing expectations, right? I mean, for that stretch, to do it for a full season. But last year went 25-9 too. So I think season you're going to have really, really good runs. I think this group has been entertaining, fun to watch. They've played a real brand of team baseball, and they continue to compete all year. I nod as long as they can stay relatively healthy.
I don't know what's going on here, David. We've kind of lost him. Let me just.
Yeah, I know. So hopefully we can get Neil
Hello?
back.
There we go. Sorry, we kind of lost you there. It was kind of clicking in and out. I hit a couple of buttons.
Oh.
I'm hoping that works better now.
Okay. I guess what I was saying was, I think that any team that goes 6-7, as this group did, in any team in Major League Baseball, you're going to say, well, they can't continue that all season. The Rays had a 25-9 stretch last, where it was fairly similar in fact that, they were very, very good period of time. I guess the question is, can they continue to remain competing for a postseason berth? And I say yes, they remain healthy. Obviously, no team you want to, 110, 150 pace.
And we're going to call Neil and just see whether or not we can get a better connection, because obviously, at first, like you, we heard it and we thought, well, maybe it's call waiting. But obviously it's something else, and hopefully we'll get it fixed out. Neil Solondz, one of the radio voices of the Tampa Bay Rays. That's your first place best record in the American League, Tampa Bay Rays. Thank you very much. And they're going to host the Marlins this weekend, little interleague at the Trop. Neil, how much do you think the Trop is playing into this? The genuine enthusiasm by the Rays players of, hey, we're back home. It was nice of the Yankees to donate Steinbrenner Field and what have you, but, we're back home, and it's just nice to be home. How much do you think the difference between the Trop and Steinbrenner Field is making this year, if any?
I think it can be. I think more so it's probably the fact that the style of Rays have is better suited to Tropicana Field than it is to Steinbrenner. I mean, park where speed and defense and athleticism are emphasized, and it also allows the pitcher to have a better chance of keeping balls in the ballpark that this year wouldn't have been out. This year they're in. I think with a contact-oriented team, bases aggressively, that's what top three in stolen bases. I think playing for your home games is a benefit. I think it's probably a little more of that. Long term, it would be beneficial because of the way this was constructed last year. When you had all the games in July and August, I think I can wear on a team where this is much more of a normal.
We were worried a little bit early, and even in that great run there, that the bullpen was being used a lot. How concerned are you about the use of the bullpen and maybe it being a little overworked early in the season?
It's not at all. I looked at, let's say, the team that the Rays faced. They had 5 with more appearances than the guy who had appeared in the Rays. I think they're going to do a good of finding ways to lean on other individuals when they need to and build as much depth as they can. At some point, they're going to get Edwin Uceda back. They'll get Manny Rodriguez back this year, who Tommy John early last season off a back issue. He was been at the start of spring training, so they're going to have some in. There's some nice arms, I think, that I think can help them at the triple at some point this year. Generally can rely on 30 or so pitchers during a given season. So I kind of feel that a group that's going to be positioned to help out this year.
Neil, we appreciate your time. Hopefully next time we'll have a little more of it. We've got a technical glitch going on here. It's not your fault. And hopefully later on in the season, we can catch up.
Happy to do it. Thank you guys for that.
Neil Solondz, along with Andy Freed, your radio voices of the Tampa Bay Rays. Follow Neil on X, NEIL, SOLONDZ. So there you go. Rays and Marlins this weekend in St. Pete.
For what it's worth, I think it was the phone connection, because when I was off of the Bluetooth, which sets this up, it was still doing it when I spoke to him. And it didn't happen when we did Ian. We had a perfect connection.
Right.
It didn't happen yesterday. It hasn't happened once with this system. So I'm going to blame him.
Yeah, I think the first day you were back home, I think we did one interview that kind of had this going for a little while, but then we cleared it up. So yeah. Oh well. What my grandfather would say, somebody stepped on a coaxial cable.
I like Ryan's comment, retro style. It was on an LP. More like an 8-track. We were going from program 1 to program 2 right in the middle of a song.
I just thought Neil is very popular. His phone, people are calling him. That call waiting. It's like he can't even tell people, hey, I need 10 minutes to talk to a couple of yahoos.
So sorry about that, folks. We wanted to talk a little more Rays. We really kind of planned on it.
Yeah.
I mean, David got the baseball in outside of the baseball hour. I mean, this was on purpose. Don't kid yourself. He was trying to go back-to-back baseball on me and mix in a little Knicks as well. But best laid plans of mice and men. But Marlins and Rays at the Trop. The Marlins started out halfway decent. They've kind of, just like the rest of that division, play a few games under 500. And the Phillies and Nats are both 2 games below 500. I'm wondering now, I don't think the Nats will do it because they don't have the pitching, but the Phillies are only 4.5 back of the Cardinals for the last wild card spot. If the Cardinals keep playing at a pace that's going to win them 90 games, I would be very surprised.
I would be very surprised if there are 3 teams in the Central who have a better record than the second place team in the NL East.
But the 2 teams on top now make sense.
Yeah.
The Brewers and Cubs, I don't want to say we're struggling, but they were at the bottom of the division. And then you had the Reds and Pirates near the top, and the Cardinals have been playing this way all year. Well, all of a sudden, the Cubs go on their run, win a bunch of games, and even though they ended up losing 2 or 3 against the Braves, the Cubs have been playing really solid baseball now for about 3-4 weeks. The Brewers seemingly have figured it out here in the last couple of weeks, and they're playing much better baseball because they've beaten some good teams in getting themselves back near the top of that division. I still think those 2 teams are the class of the NL Central, and I think that'll play out that way. The question is, can the Cardinals, Pirates, or Reds, can one of them maintain what they've been doing for the first quarter of the season? Because the Padres have done this for a while. They're no surprise to anyone that maybe that they're challenging the Dodgers, but that they're a good team. I don't think anybody's overly surprised by that.
No, what I think you're laying out is that you're willing to take your money right now and bet on the Braves, the Cubs, the Brewers, the Dodgers, and the Padres as 5 of the 6 National League playoff teams.
Yep.
And here you are with 120 games to go in the season, basically saying, okay, second place team in the East versus third place team in the Central. Go, boys.
Yeah, I think I'd double down and take the Phillies to make the playoffs right now. I would. By the way, Schwarber just hit another home run while we were doing that.
6 out of 7 games he's homered. He's up to 18. Listen, you and I do Memorial Day. That's when we take inventory in baseball seriously. That's when we do take our money out of our pocket and say, listen, this is going to happen. We're willing to bet on it. Between now and then, the Rays have the 3 games at home with the Marlins, 3 games at home with the Braves, and then they go to the Bronx to play the Yankees. So Marlins, Braves, Yankees. I think 9 games between now and Memorial Day. So, with the way the Rays have been playing, I mean, 6-3 would be disappointing, but obviously, okay.
But 5-4 would be good. It really would.
You take 5-4?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's
All right.
essentially winning 2 of the 3 series. I'll take that all day long.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Tells me, by the way, you should see, for those in the area, Chris Sale at the Trop, because he pitched last night. So I would have to think one of those 3 games, it's going to be Sale, who grew up in Lakeland and went to college in Southwest Florida. He loves pitching at the Trop. It's a lot of support.
And he should be able to, because there's still plenty of good seats available.
Yes, unfortunately there are.
I think it'll change dramatically if this thing gets done in Tampa. I really do.
Do you think people will then start going in St. Pete, or do you think it will be dramatic in 3-4 years when the Tampa Stadium is built?
In 3-4 years.
Okay.
They're not, David, that's a long drive. I mean, but just having spent all that time in that area, most of the people live where? North of the city.
Correct.
That's a haul, man.
It is.
It's a haul to get from where I was just to the other side of downtown. That's not going across the bridge all the way to St. Pete. I mean, it's just, you can't say, you know what, you can't make the decision at 5:30 as you're leaving work, or at 5 o'clock as you're leaving work. Hey, you want to go to the game tonight? You got to plan that out. And I don't think people, particularly younger people, and that, younger people do go to games. I don't know how much they watch baseball, but you're not taking a family certainly on a weekday night and getting back at 11 o'clock at night from going to a game.
My mistake. The Marlins have the Braves. Okay, so the Rays go Marlins, Orioles at home, then in the Bronx. My bad. They're stacked one on top of one another on my phone. I just read the wrong one. My bad.
Well, we'll let you get away with it this time.
I understand.
We'll check out the New York sports scene coming up at the top of the hour. Marc Malusis anchors PIX 11 in New York City. He joins us next. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, a Football Friday edition.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Marc Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Core-Tech and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Marc at that Marc Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Dratharian, I did play the schedule game for the G-men. I came up with 6-11 or 7-10 because their final game is home for the Eagles, and I don't know if the Eagles are going to be playing anybody or not. So if I give them a win in the finale, because Philly's mailing it in, they go 7-10. Well, let's cross our fingers, Marc.
I agree.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Marc Miller and David Moulton.
Final hour of Miller and Moulton, not just on this Friday, but of the week. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We've had a fun show. There's a lot to kick around in the sports world. There's always a lot to kick around on the New York sports scene. And so we head there now. He's affectionately called the Moose. He's Marc Malusis. During the week, a TV guy, PIX11. On the weekends, hosting shows on the legendary WFAN. You can follow Marc on X, Marc with a C, Malusis, Malusis. Marc, it's David and Marc. Thanks for doing this again. Hope all is well.
What's going on, boys? How you doing?
Well, we are doing fine. Listen, I grew up in the area. I'm a Mets fan. But, we've had about 30 years of this now. Is, Yankees, Mets still stirring the emotions that it used to, or it depends?
Yeah, people are into it. I mean, I think it's regular fun. Mets have turned a little bit after what was a start to the season with a really successful series against Tigers, so that's a positive. Yankees of a concern when you're looking at starting rotation. It's been the drive. They got off to an unbelievable year, but baseball right now it's a little different because the city waits for the winner of the Detroit series, because walk around Midtown Manhattan now, the Knicks are the drive of the town, a team that hasn't won an NBA championship in 3. The Dodgers, they have shown up until this point. But, baseball is, and I do think this weekend, this is a little bit more important for them to continue the good vibe going compared to the Yankees. But it's always fun.
Yankees 10 games over 500, 2 back of the Rays. Mets have gone from worst record in baseball to tied for 5th worst record in baseball, thanks to the 3-game sweep of the Tigers. But you mentioned it, the Knicks, and, it's tough to explain to folks, they've had a rough 20 years until this decade, but the city loves that team, doesn't it?
Marc, I think we're having a little bit of audio problems, and it's on our end. Let me try you one more time. I'm going to call you right back, okay?
And Marc, we can hear you for what that's worth. But, all of a sudden, some gremlins in the system. We apologize for that. Best laid plans of mice and men, especially since we did the very same thing earlier in the show with one of our guests, and everything worked fine. And we're doing the exact same thing now, and it's not working. So,
Marc, we've got you back. I hope it works this time. If not, I've got to, kind of reboot my whole system, because it worked this morning for our first guest, and for our second guest, it didn't for whatever reason. But as you mentioned, the Knicks are it right now. We get it. During the regular season, the Pistons had their number. It's a different Knick team right now. Do the Knicks even care who they play?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to be arrogant as a Knicks fan. They haven't won an NBA championship since '73. But right now, I think to answer that question, I think they'd be favored against either team. They'd have home court advantage against Cleveland. They wouldn't against Detroit. We've seen secondary and tertiary scoring be an issue for the Pistons. The Knicks had an impossible time dealing with Detroit's physicality. Duren was a different player in the regular season than what we have seen here in the NBA playoffs up until this point in time. Obviously, Harden had his moment a couple nights ago in Detroit against the Pistons, but Harden has not been a big playoff performer. You look at Spider Mitchell, who's got ties to this area. His dad works for the Mets, and he grew up in the tri-state area, huge Met fan, but he was a guy in Donovan Mitchell. The Knicks obviously played footsie with the Utah Jazz to try and get him to New York and play for the Knicks. And He ended up getting traded to Cleveland. So there's a lot of history there. I think they're both interesting matchups, but I think with the way that the Knicks are playing right now, I don't think there's any fear. Not saying that they'd win each series. Every series looks a little bit different. I never thought the Hawks were going to be a big time threat. Was stunned when the Knicks were down 2-1, but we saw them respond. Thought the Knicks would beat the Sixers in 6 games, not necessarily a sweep, and not necessarily the way that in style and fashion which we did. We saw them do it, but when you hit 18 threes in a closeout game in a game 4 when a team's down 3-0, and that place is probably 65% Knick fans. That scene down in Philadelphia was absolutely crazy. So, long story long, to answer your question, with how well they're playing right now, I don't think there's any fear of anybody that they go up against. I really don't. Outside of Oklahoma City and maybe Wemby and the San Antonio Spurs, but when we're focused just singularly here on the Eastern Conference, I don't think there's any fear. I think the Knicks right now are the best team left standing. I think they're going to go to the NBA Finals regardless of it being Detroit or Cleveland.
What's the biggest difference? Is it going through Towns instead of Brunson? Or is it the fact that, as you mentioned, they're shooting lights out these last 7 games? Heck, they're shooting like 50% from beyond the arc, never mind what they're shooting inside the arc. What's the biggest difference? They can't miss, or the change in the offensive system?
Yeah, when I was taking the SATs when I was younger, it was like D, all the above, right? It really is. It's all the above. I think you got to give a healthy respect to Karl Anthony Towns, who last year was public enemy number 1 amongst Knicks fans, and people wanted to get rid of him. But I think the brilliance of this coaching staff to have him being a guy that, at the top of the key, to be able to be a facilitator passing the basketball, they've become less Brunson reliant with the ball in his hands, where you're playing a lot of solo basketball. They're moving the basketball really well. Yes, when you hit 18 threes and you shoot 50% from behind the arc, you're going to win a lot of games. And, the evolution of OG Anunoby, there was a belief within the Knicks that, that this team would really kind of level up, so to speak, when you got to the NBA playoffs, that you'd see the best version of OG Anunoby, that you'd see the best version of a guy like Mikal Bridges. Less to do so with guys that have been all NBA players when you're looking at Brunson and Towns, but that there were other guys on this team that would meet the moment. And that belief within the organization has proved out to be correct. Listen, the best player was the guy that suffered a hamstring injury. It's been OG Anunoby. And what this team has been defensively, what Bridges has been defensively, what Anunoby has been defensively, even Towns and Brunson, less so Jalen, but how they played so well defensively as a group, and has spearheaded that offense. And when you're shooting as well as they are, the only thing you get concerned about is the extended time off. Does that take a little bit of the edge off the way that this team is playing right now? But outside of that, even if it does, even if it's a dulled performance in a game 1 against Cleveland or Detroit, I think as that series evolves and goes on, given the issues we've seen with both of those teams and the non-issues we've seen with the Knicks, I think it'll be a lengthier series than the Philadelphia series, but I just think the Knicks are the better team.
Yeah, I thought I'm with you. I thought the Philadelphia series would go a little longer because I'm not even putting Paul George. I don't think it's a big 3. I think it's a big 2 with Maxey and Embiid. And that against Brunson and Towns, I thought that might have been squashed. And first off, the Knicks' big 2 were much better. Embiid missed a game, so you've got that and the injury. But it's the bench. It's the rest of the players. It's the bench. What they're doing, and they're really showing how much depth this team has. And I don't know if, did you anticipate that when the playoffs began?
No, I didn't necessarily. Listen, Mitchell Robinson's always a guy that is an unbelievable offensive and defensive rebounder, and is a defensive presence, and is a pain in the rear end when you're going up against him. Did I expect McBride to be as good as he has been offensively? Probably not. I know he's a really good defensive player, but I didn't necessarily think that he'd be going 5 of 5 or 6 of 6, whatever he was in first half against the Philadelphia 76ers from behind the arc. I think he finished the first half with 20 points. It was utterly ridiculous. That game was over, like the 8-minute mark of the second quarter when the Knicks were like up 32 points. It was insane. But Listen, the benches and the development of that bench is one of the reasons why, Tom Thibodeau lost his job. They wanted more answers. When it comes down to it, I mean, the stars are going to play at the end of the game, but it's a matter of getting the best version of those players at the end to where they're not overtaxed during the course of the game. And this team came into this postseason with a tremendous amount of pressure. Pressure on the coaching staff, understanding that, the only way that this season was a successful season is that they get to the NBA Finals, and pressure on each and every one of those individual players because they know that the honest sweepstakes are coming this summer. So if they should fall short of expectations, there would be changes this summer from Leon Rose and the Knicks, because as he issued that statement when they got rid of Tibbs, that the singular focus was to win an NBA championship. So you take all that pressure, and what you love is when you see a staff and the players respond. And I don't think there was a team that came into these playoffs with more pressure than the Knicks. And you've seen a response that has been, to be honest with you, I've watched Knicks basketball. I've been a fan my entire life. I've never seen a stretch, and I don't even know what to do with myself. I've never seen a stretch where the Knicks have played this well and have been this time. I've seen other teams do it. I saw San Antonio do it. I've seen LeBron teams do it. I've seen Shaq and Kobe do it with the Lakers. I've never seen the Knicks do it. And, you're watching games, and I'm watching it with my three boys, and like you're saying to yourself, I don't understand this version. I've never witnessed this. I've never experienced this before. It's refreshing. It's great. But and I think they deserve all the accolades that come their way. And I think the betting markets have shown that they are the best team in the Eastern Conference. And I think they're going to get to the NBA Finals and await the winner of whether it be Oklahoma City or San Antonio.
Well, and you mentioned they haven't won since 73. They haven't even been in the finals since 99. So even advancing one more round would be the first time this century. Marc, thanks for being patient with us and always making time for us, and enjoy the weekend with your boys, and we'll talk soon.
You got it, Mark David. Thanks for the time this morning.
Marc Malusis, affectionately known as the Moose, in New York City. Weekdays, PIX 11 on TV, doing the nightly sports. Weekends, hosting some shows on the legendary WFAN.
Got it to work. Whatever, the Knicks. Yay. It's your team. It's his team. I'm excited. I'm happier I was able to fix the problem.
No, I know. The key to that segment was the phone eventually worked. I know you cared little about the content.
I mean, I thought relevant questions, but
you did.
You're right. It's, after all, it's the Knicks. We'll get enough of that coming up.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Core-Tech and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Marc Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Did you do anything differently, or did it just happen to work? Yes, PJet, I agree. Yes.
Oh, yeah, we fixed it. That's why. Something was wrong. The Bluetooth wasn't connecting properly. I don't know why. My apologies to everybody. It's my fault.
Oh, no, it wasn't. It's all right.
I can tell you from a host perspective, it sounded completely different too,
Yeah.
because it wasn't working right. David, what was the middle segment last hour? Do you recall? I'm
Yeah.
I'm having a rough show right now.
Yeah.
Nothing's working.
The Falcons.
Okay,
Yes,
that's
the
right. Yeah.
Falcons
Okay.
scheduling quirk.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day one. Some final thoughts. All coming up. Couple of game sixes tonight in the NBA. No hockey tonight. Tomorrow night. Hockey night in Canada. They haven't had a Canadian team on hockey night in Canada on Saturday night in like a month. Going to be even more amped trying to go to the conference finals for the first time in 5-6 years. Will the Les Habitants. But tonight, can Cleveland advance to the conference finals? A place they haven't been since LeBron James was on the team. They've made it to the second round a few times. But, Mark, it is, I think, fun because it's different. The Eastern Conference, which is where our two favorite teams are, but the Eastern Conference is old school. This year, anyway, it's the pay your dues side of the draw. The Knicks and the Cavs have put these teams together at the beginning of this decade, and they've suffered some playoff disappointment. In Cleveland's case, one time it was at the expense of the Knicks. And, you know, the Knicks have taken their game to a new level for now. What did Cleveland do, though? Cleveland went on the road and won a big game without LeBron James. They hadn't done that before. And now they're on the verge of going to the conference finals. They haven't done that since LeBron last decade. You know, while the Pistons, Sixers, you know, some other Hawks, some other teams, they're young, probably on the rise, but, you know, they're missing some pieces. They just, you know, it's the learning. Meanwhile, out west, it's just go find a great player, all right, put two accessories around them and get as good as quickly as possible. And Oklahoma City did it, and now here comes San Antonio.
Right. I like the pieces around both a lot, though. I will say, I think you don't want to sell a Harper short in San Antonio, and what they have in OKC is pretty damn good all the way through. The one thing that, you know, is maybe different for you and I from old schools, obviously, the team that was in the East Final last year fell apart, and the Celtics got bounced early. You know, no one had to take out the team that we thought, even though they weren't the 1 seed. Heading into the playoffs, if we were all making logical bets as to who the best team was, most of us thought it was the Boston Celtics. And they blow that series against Philadelphia, and everybody went, well, damn, now the East is wide open.
Right. Boston was the favorite, even though the Knicks beat them last year in the playoffs, and they were going to beat them before Tatum got hurt. But you're right. The Knicks were not. They were the 3 seed, and that's about where they were on the list of who do we think is going to come out of the East. And Cleveland is the 4 seed, and that's about where they were as to who we thought was going to come out of the East. And surprise, 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 here we are. My question for you is, the Pistons did it once before. Do you think they have it in them? You know, they went to Orlando, had to win a game 6 on the road, trailed by 22 at the half and won. Do they have it in them to go to Cleveland and win?
Cleveland's a 4.5-point favorite for what it's worth. The 2 games in Cleveland were both under 10 points. So Detroit was in both games.
Absolutely.
So I don't think this is a situation like where, you know, San Antonio, and I know they lost to the T-Wolves in game 1, but then they just whacked them in game 2. I don't think it's a situation where Detroit's at all intimidated by going to Cleveland. And the style that the Pistons play does travel because they live off of defense. Duncan Robinson needs to be back, and I honestly don't know. They need their shooter, and they need him to score I mean, they need buckets. They need threes. They need to put somebody that on the score sheet that's not Cade Cunningham having to score 35 plus, and he may still have to score 35 plus for them to win. But defensively, they've gone through, sorry, David, they've gone through long stretches where they've been able to stifle Cleveland. I think they've got to keep Cleveland below 105, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But I put it this way. I give Detroit a hell of a lot better chance tonight than I give Buffalo tomorrow.
And I'm assuming you also think the same about the T-Wolves' chances tonight.
I think the T-Wolves have a fighter's. They have a puncher's shot. I mean, they got this Anthony Edwards guy. When it comes to the fourth quarter, if the game's close, look out.
No doubt. 3 times the game wasn't close, Spurs won. 2 times the game was close, even though the T-Wolves were trailing entering both fourth quarters. AE said, I'll take it from here. If you really think about it, the first 4 games and 45 and a half minutes of game 5 all went exactly the same. Detroit won the first 2 games at home against Cleveland. What did they win by? Between like 9 and 12 points. But both games mid-fourth quarter were tied or 1-point game. Detroit at home outplayed Cleveland down the stretch. They go to Cleveland. Close games early to mid-fourth quarter. Cleveland outplays Detroit down the stretch. They end up winning by 7, 9, 11, whatever. And what's happening in game 5? Detroit's up 9 with 2.5 minutes to play. What have they done? They just went a 7-minute stretch completely outplaying the Cavs. The difference is Cleveland said, not so fast, my friend. For the first time, a road team said, we ain't going quietly into the good night. And that's on the Pistons tonight. I'm with you. I think they'll be right there. But at some point, they have to say, it's our night.
But in the fourth quarter, someone besides Cade's got to be there. The difference was that Detroit should have never allowed Cleveland to come back. Multiple Cavs were scoring buckets in that game. It wasn't just Donovan Mitchell. They've got Harden, they've got Mitchell, they got Mobley, they got guys that can score. Yeah. Detroit needs that late. They need some help from Cade when the Cleveland defense is going to try to suffocate Cade Cunningham. So that to me is where I need to see the Pistons do something that they don't seem to have right now.
I will say this, and I understand Cleveland's a whole level better than Orlando, but the fact that Detroit came out of the locker room at halftime down 22 in a series in which they're facing elimination, and they didn't go through the motions. That impressed the hell out of me. And I gotta think Detroit gives them a good game tonight. I'll be very surprised if this game is not a good game mid-fourth quarter.
By the way, as we pointed out yesterday, in the last 3 games, Cleveland shot nearly 50 more free throws than Detroit. They shot 18 more free throws in game 5 than did the Pistons. Somehow I think that number is going to be a little closer to even tonight.
You think the Pistons have been heard?
Well, it was ironic to me that the report came. Look, at the end of the game, I thought when Cleveland missed the shot, Detroit went for the rebound, I thought the Detroit player was fouled. I didn't think in a million years it was going to be called with 1.5 or 1.7 seconds left. I'm not complaining, and I'm not that big of a Piston fan to worry about it anyhow. Never in a million years did I think it was going to be called. But when they do that report and say that they missed nothing in the final 2 minutes,
right?
Really? Are you sure?
Right.
That's all. I just think Detroit's going to get a call or two tonight, David. That's all I'm saying.
Well, here's the other thing. Harden's played 3 good games in a row. Can 36-year-old James Harden make it 4?
Miller and Moulton. Today was the day when, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And what's on tap? That's next.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Core-Tech and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
David, just curious, you still heard the commercials, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just something else I get to do with this board that's rather nice, that I can mute the one computer and edit during the commercial breaks.
Oh, wow.
So and you guys can still hear it. This is actually quite a system. I just could, for whatever reason, I now know why, if we ever get that again, what happened.
I am not complaining. I'm serious. I'm not complaining. I made reference to this earlier. What if I told you that the Monday Night Football schedule came out and neither Dallas, Buffalo, Denver, the Chargers, or the Patriots would host a Monday Night Football game?
I would ask you, how many of those teams do you have in road games?
Well,
that would be my first question.
Well, I know we have Dallas once at Philly. The other thing is we don't go to Jersey. I thought we'd get a Giants home game. We have them twice. They're on the road both times. Let's see. Do we have a Buffalo game? We do. We have Buffalo at Minnesota. A Chargers game. We have the Chargers at Baltimore. Patriots game. We have them January 4th. Oh, no. That's the Texans.
You have Pittsburgh twice, I believe.
Pittsburgh once. I don't count the NFL Network games.
Oh, sorry.
Because
you're right. I'm not.
Fortunately, I will say we have a Jacksonville and a Tampa game.
I mean, I guess that, I know you're not complaining.
I'm not. I'm just surprised.
But you get most of those teams.
Right. We just get them on the road, though. I mean,
Michael, I'm with you. I had it on the second TV. David just poo-pooed me. He looked awful. I wasn't listening because I didn't have the volume on. My wife and mother, well, my wife looked at him and said he looked like Seacrest does right now because Seacrest looks awful. People are like questioning whether he's sick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that was the conversation that my mother and my wife and I had about Joe Buck last night. He looked terrible. The glasses he had on were awful. He was unshaven. The lights were bad. I mean, I get it. We're just letting people do stuff out of their house, but he looked awful. Absolutely awful.
Huh.
I know he's your boy. It was yuck. I couldn't believe, like, I get he can do what he wants. He's Joe Buck.
Well, no, what's interesting, though, is that I'm pretty sure they had a makeup person nearby, so that's interesting.
But he had on these, like, I go nuts because I can't I know which light it is, and I need the lights. That the fact that these lights reflect in my glasses from the screens drives me crazy, and we're doing a tiny radio show.
Right.
He had these huge bug type, cheaters on it. Whatever.
Yes, for those asking, like the Jags have some interesting home games, but they're going to be at half capacity. So it's going to be harder for the road fans to, I think, get their hands on tickets. By the way, the Jags go like a 9-week stretch without a game at home. It's very weird. From like week 3 to week 12. Yes, Jotharian. This year, half capacity at home. Next year, the whole season in Orlando.
As they say in Steeler country. Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the very top of the hour. And we're done. That's it. You missed any part of Miller and Moulton? Go to millerandmoulton.com. Marc does a great job of taking every hour and posting it as fast as he can. Gives you a cheat sheet about what every segment's about. So millerandmoulton.com. Thank you,
By
Marc.
the way, Alex Smalley and Patrick Reed are your two leaders on the course right now. An early bogey for Mr. Scheffler on his first hole has him at 2 under for the tournament. Early playing going on. Right now, there are 31 players under par at the moment at the PGA Championship.
Okay, I don't want to take up too much of your time. So did you hear Furyk's presser earlier in the week? Because he's the Ryder Cup captain, because Tiger.
I read a little bit of it, yes.
In which he said what we've talked about now for a while. Okay, the U.S. gets destroyed in 4-ball. Destroyed. Like 3.5 to 1, 4-0. I mean, just destroyed. And Furyk, I guess, is the first captain to notice this. And he said, I'm going to really zero in on what the problem is, and we're going to get the right players playing. Marc, I'm curious. I mean, this is where I hope Patrick Reed keeps playing well in the majors because I really want him on the team.
Well, and next year when he has status on tour, the points are higher in year 2. It's a 2-year period for Ryder Cup points. But the year leading up to the Ryder Cup, the points are weighed more heavily. Right. So he will have still have a legitimate shot when he's on tour. Now, he probably needs to win early to get into those signature events, but you get the point.
I mean, he's going to win the DP World Tour money list probably. I don't even know if he has to play again because he's already got 3 wins. All right. He's finished T12 at the Masters. He's in contention here at the PGA. I just want him on the team. I think we need a pit bull. I think we need a couple of blankety blanks in the room, to be honest with you.
I wonder who you pair him with. Though, I mean, he's not a well-liked guy. So when you because the foursomes, it's just your own ball, go make birdies. Who gives a damn? But the 4-ball alternate shot method, you would seemingly have to like the guy you're playing with a little bit.
Well, you know who's not well-liked right now is DeChambeau. Maybe just put them together.
way DeChambeau's playing, do you really want him on the Ryder Cup team?
Well, we got take it easy now.
Well, I mean,
Today, no. A year and a half from now will be different.
I hope so. Because he brings energy. Those two are he's taken over from Reed. Reed was Captain America before we all hated him. And full disclosure, I never liked him because there's a lot of things to not like about Patrick Reed. There really are.
Right.
Go read up. But in the Ryder Cup, he was great. Loved him. Loved the way he acted from day one. DeChambeau's kind of taken that torch. No one else really has. Not in the method that those two have.
Yeah, and Reed won, by the way. Check out his Ryder Cup record.
Yep. Like you said, he was a bulldog,
Yes,
even
he
though
was.
he got kicked out of Georgia.
Well played. Well done.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Marc Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Really well done.
Facts, David. Facts. Joe D started the 56-game hitting streak today in 41. He had the only RBI in a loss against the White Sox. Think about that. It's May 15th.
It's going to go to about mid-July.
Right. It's amazing. Marciano in his first title defense KOs Jersey Joe Walcott today at the Chicago Stadium in 1953. There is so much about this next thing for me to unravel, David. It was today in 68 that Lennon and McCartney appeared on The Tonight Show to promote Apple Records. Seems like a good get. Do you know who interviewed him? Because it wasn't Johnny Carson. The guest host that night of The Tonight Show, Joe Garagiola. Everything about that, the fact that Joe Garagiola was a regular Tonight Show guest host is baffling to me. Nolan Ryan threw his first no-no today in 73. In maybe the worst made-for-television episode ever, and that's saying a lot. Today in 1981 on NBC, the Harlem Globetrotters on Gilligan's Island air.
And then they played Linden High School 2 nights later, but everybody else was stuck on the island.
Ooh, Deadstroke with a good nomination. Kiss goes to Central Park. You may have a winner. Today in 82, it wasn't as good as when they redid it on SNL, but McCartney and Stevie Wonder would hit number 1 with Ebony and Ivory. Go watch Piscopo and Eddie Murphy.
Amazing. So funny even today.
Piscopo's Sinatra was solid.
It was excellent.
A little underrated. Love the old sports. Joe Piscopo, Saturday Night Sports. I mean, he was making fun of the sports guy long before Brockmire. And it was pretty good. Today in 1986, the first rap album to go platinum. Raising Hell, which featured Walk This Way by Run DMC, remade Aerosmith, by the way. That video was Steven Tyler and Joe Perry doing it with the Run DMC guys. That helped that Act 2 of Aerosmith happen. David, it was today in the third overtime in 1990, the longest game in Stanley Cup Finals history. His ass sat on the bench for most of the first 2 overtimes, and everybody was tired, so they put the defensive liability on the ice. Peter Klima.
There you go.
And Klima scored the goal for Edmonton to defeat Boston. David, this may take you off the Royals here. I'm just letting you know, and I'm not talking about Kansas City. Today in 91, President George H.W. Bush went to an A's-Orioles game. He brought the Queen with him, Queen Elizabeth II. Apparently, they were only there 2 innings, and she found it dull.
Well, I have to admit, every woman in my life has found baseball dull also.
And today in 1993, the Expos retire their first number 10.
Rusty Staub, Le Grand Orange.
You got it. Ken Venturi. Oh, go ahead.
No. Keep going.
All right. Ken Venturi, Madeleine Albright, the first female Secretary of State, and the great white hope of the late 70s and 80s, Jerry Quarry, would have all celebrated birthdays today. Don Nelson's 86. Record producer Brian Eno, 78. George Brett, 73. Melly Mel from Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, he's 65. John Smoltz is 59. Emmett Smith, 57. Desmond Howard, 56. And A.J. Hinch, 52. Ray Lewis, 51. Ryan Lee, 50. Josh Beckett, 46. And Andy Murray's 39 years old today. What did I miss, David?
Okay. I have a question. Did you have John Adams in 1800?
I did not.
Okay. Today in 1800, President John Adams ordered the government to get up, pack your things, and move to D.C. because our first capital was Philadelphia. And John Adams said, nope, we're headed to D.C. Oh,
Can't handle the sports fans here anymore.
no doubt. He already saw that. Lit Santa Claus on fire. He said, we're out of here. George Wallace got shot, the Alabama governor, today in 72.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Marc Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Marc?
You know, I feel like I've done this story before, but what the hell? The good today is the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has issued a national priority to 3 companies studying psychedelic-based medicines for mental health treatment. More mushrooms for everybody. For the bad, we go to France, where police are warning drivers to beware of drunk deer and other inebriated wildlife wandering onto the roadways after eating fermented fruits.
Excuse me?
There was a post to social media showing a deer frolicking erratically and running in circles, apparently after consuming intoxicants. Not all road users are sober, the post said.
Where is this again?
France. Even the deer like the wine there, David.
No, in all seriousness. So you're driving and the deer starts acting all what? I mean, you said frolicking. I mean, I'm envisioning, drunk and the stereotypical, gay comedian here. I mean, all of a sudden, what? Robin Williams in a deer costume just showed up? How am I going to deal with that? I mean, you said a deer drunk and frolicking. How am I going to deal with this as a motorist? Oh, exactly. Okay.
Finally, the ugly. We go to
when you go out into the woods and you wear all those colors. Okay, I cannot see you. You need to brighten up. Okay, Clash. No, honestly, a drunken, frolicking deer, and you're what? How does a motorist deal with that?
4-wheel drive. Finally, the ugly. We go to Deltona, Florida, where the sheriff's office shared a video of a 12-year-old that was arrested after he took part in the viral door kicking challenge. The 12-year-old had his face covered with his shirt before kicking a door of a home and running away. They arrested the child and set a court date. You can hear the child in the video say, "I hate myself." The deputy was very nice. He said, "Don't hate yourself. You're all right, buddy. I promise you, you'll still be able to become a cop." Of course. I would advise you to not let your kids kick doors. This is a stand your ground state. Something terrible will happen. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's a bad, ding dong ditch. We all did it. But we didn't have the neighbors as armed as we do now and as willing to shoot you for knocking on their door.
I'd much rather have a drunken, frolicking deer.
Yes. More drunk deer. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly. On today, May the 15th, brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department, hiring new officers, great pay, signing bonuses, other jobs available. For all information, capecops.com. That's capecops.com.
I'm just picturing the first day of deer hunting season in Pennsylvania and somehow, some way, what is it? What did they eat again? Like blueberries or something?
I mean, they could eat great. David, all I'm picturing is that in Pennsylvania, the deer are drunk, not the hunters.
No, that's what I mean. And all of a sudden the hunters are in the tree and they're like,
Hey, I'm not going to shoot you today. How about you just come over here? I got 24 packs.
no,
You like?
no.
Why don't you have a couple?
No, too many guns. Can't have that too many drunk people. But the deer, could you imagine the hunters and their deer stands going, what's wrong with that deer? Never seen a deer act like that.
That deer had my IC light. I'm going to shoot that son of a bitch.
Okay, no hockey tonight. Game 6 tomorrow, Buffalo at Montreal. The other 3 conference finalists are set. Vegas, Colorado, Carolina. 2 game 6s tonight on Prime. 7 o'clock. You have Cleveland up to 4.5.
I have Cleveland at 4.5 at the moment.
Over the Pistons. I got the Spurs at 5.5 on the road over the T-Wolves.
All right. I don't have it up. Sorry.
Okay.
I wasn't
Matt,
ready for you.
9:30, 9:45. Both games on Prime. If you're interested, interleague baseball, baby. Okay. Some of these series should interest you. I mean, right? Huh? Come on now.
If you say so.
Phillies, Pirates, Yankees, Mets, Marlins, Rays, the geographical Orioles, Nats rivalry, Brewers, Twins. Neighboring states aren't fond of each other. Red Sox, Braves. They both used to be in Boston. Got North Side, South Side in Chicago. Cubs, White Sox. Texas and Houston. Battle of Missouri. Royals and Cardinals. Battle of LA. Dodgers, Angels. I mean, no?
We've got the Preakness. I'm going with talking on name only. That's it. I talk, he's talking. That's who I'm betting.
Who did Kurt Becker pick? Like a roundabout or whatever?
Incredible.
That's it. I'll go with Incredible.
There you have it. Enjoy the PGA. Enjoy the Preakness, interleague play, little hockey, little hoop. We'll break it all down on Monday. Miller and Moulton.
The Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Core-Tech and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right